Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodin. I'm joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, how are you, good sir?
I am fantastic, my friend. It is a beautiful day outside. Some phenomenal wrestling going on around the world. Some phenomenal stuff going on in the world of Stardom. And Rob, can you believe it that they announced the full conversion card just a handful of hours ago? I was getting to the point where it's like, we're going to podcast and then they're going to release the full card. But they released this morning. So we get to preview all of these matches and some very interesting things going on, considering this is the big show that everything changes. So, man, I'm super excited for this show. I'm super excited for me to talk about Korakuen Hall. Just super excited in general, my friend. Things are well. Things are well. Now, I did tease you earlier this morning that I do have some breaking news, some major news. So I don't want to leave you on the hook any longer. Now, as you know, and some of our listeners do know, that I made an announcement about 4 or 5 weeks ago that I have filmed for an episode for Dark Side of the Ring with Samoa Joe and Necro Butcher. I did an interview, the whole nine, and it was announced last week that that show will air July 31st. What I found out just yesterday, Rob, you know what else is going to happen July 31st? Definitely bigger than me being on Dark Side of the Ring, same day, is that we will have the judging for the annual baking contest. Yes, that is the same day. Because I have to drive by the building on my way home from work, and it showed the dates, and I was like, July 21st, there's something going on. I said, oh my goodness, that's my episode of Dark Side of the Ring airs. So came home, and I told Amber, I said, it starts the 21st and goes to the 25th. And she goes, that's when they do the judging, on the 21st. So Rob, knuckle up on the 21st.
Absolutely.
Because it is, and Amber did say she might be teasing a new recipe. She might be doing, because I think there's like a breakfast Danish category, so she might be doing cinnamon rolls infused with apples. So look out. Yeah, look out. Chair's going to be thrown July 21st. Mark it down on your calendar. Save the date, folks. Violence for the sake of violence.
In the same way that our 5-star preview is the most expected episode of the year, or our All-Star Grand Queendom live review, I would argue that the biggest date in the Stardom Cast calendar is the apple pie baking competition. It's certainly a noteworthy day. It's certainly a day laced with controversy, laced with let's just outright call it corruption. But we shall see. I'm sure Amber will succeed. I'm sure Amber will cook up a storm, having sampled Amber's cooking and put on about 2.5 stone in the process. I have little doubt.
Just wait till the end of the summer when we're over there, buddy. You're gonna be forced to go to the gym. Like, I try to force you to go to the gym in Philly, and you went 0 for 0 with me.
I did.
Now you're gonna have to. Yeah, now you're gonna have to.
I stopped even waking up when you left. Like the first morning, I was like, "Oh, I woke up and he's gone. Oh no, where's he gone? Oh, the gym." And then I was just like, "Nah, he's probably fine. He's probably fine. He's probably not dead in a car park somewhere. He's probably fine."
No, I was in the gym, and then when I left the first day, that's the one of I think 3 or 4 days we literally bumped into Minoru Suzuki. It's like, is he coming in here? We're like, no, he wasn't.
But today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about in a relatively short amount of time. Through different things, we have got a shorter time scale. I could easily see this being a 4-hour podcast had we not got time constraints. But we are going to go through the Korakuen Hall show from the 14th of June. Really good Korakuen Hall show with lots and lots of moving parts, 3 great title matches, and Kanai. What a performance from her. Sayaka Kurara legitimately tried to kill her with a spear. Really, really entertaining.
That's Suzu Suzuki. I blame Suzu Suzuki for that.
Yeah. Has definitely drawn that out of her, hasn't she? And then we are going to preview the conversion, because Matt Turner, and that'll be the only time I do it today, because for the first time in what seems like a long time, big news has actually dropped before the podcast. So we can actually go through the matchups that have been confirmed for the show June 20th in Yogi title matches, great little matches, moving stories forward, a big return from injury as well, which is very, very much needed. Before we get into all that, though, Matt, would you care to tell the dear listeners at home what is coming up on the Patreon this week?
This week, alternate commentary, which dropped on Monday, again, for between now and the end of the summer, which will take us to the end of the 5-star Grand Prix. Alternate commentary each and every week will be myself doing some alternate commentary to some 5-star Grand Prix matches in the past. And I went back to the final night of the 2022 5-star Grand Prix, October 1st, 2022, one of the greatest Stardom shows in company history. I called the match between Utami Hayashishita and Kagama. I've not seen that match in quite some time. A really fun match. It had a really fantastic ending, a really ending that kind of came out of nowhere. So that is the alternate commentary. That is up this week. And then at the end of the week, I should have it done. I only have 2 more matches left for the homework. So I think it'll be up on your feed by the end of this week. My review of Rina in last year's 5-star Grand Prix. Our new good friend Rina, apparently, Rob, which we'll get into. We'll get into in a few moments. So again, I only have 2 more matches left. I'm trying to get the homework done for that. And again, more than likely, that'll be on your feed by the end of the week. And again, folks, as always, any suggestions always open up to. I'm looking to try to get maybe a full review of Starlight Kid's run as Wonder of Stardom champion. As Starlight Kid is somebody that has been in the news quite a bit this past week, Rob. And again, I'm looking to do a few more of these 5-star Grand Prix reviews and as well as the alternate commentary. If anybody has any suggestions on alternate commentary, please let me know. And then a lot of bonus episodes this week. I did a watch, and this is not on Patreon. This is free for everybody. I did a watch along of Hazuki versus Mercedes Moné from Strong Style Evolved from about a year and a half ago, because I figured that Mercedes and Hazuki, something that is on the minds of all the wrestling fans coming up this week. And for you listeners over at Talk Joshi, myself and Andy Header will have our interview with one Arisa Endo. So a lot of stuff on, obviously, World of Joshi Patreon, Stardom Cast, Talk Joshi, Marigold Standard. The train keeps going. The train keeps it going. As Aerosmith says, train keep it rolling all night long, my friend.
Absolutely. Patreon.com/World of Joshi for all of our bonus episodes. And of course, the conversion predictions contest, which will be up on Patreon, hopefully by tomorrow night. There are certain things going on at the moment, so it might be a little late. So if it is, please forgive me. But we'll be back next week with our review for the conversion and to announce, of course, the winner of that. Let's get straight into it, Mr. Turner, then. You, my friend, were a very busy bee this weekend, were you not? You were in the ECW arena meeting Saya Kamitani and Rina. There should be a picture of you on the screen. Don't know why. It says that I've changed it, but clearly it's just on a little bit of a go slow. Please tell us about your experiences and how you befriended Rina.
Maybe as I'm talking about this, it'll come in, but it'd be like, boom, that'll be like perfect. Like there's the shot. Oh, so what had happened was Friday and Saturday of this past week, MLW was at the ECW arena, now known as the 2300 arena. Sorry, I'm not going to call it that. To me, someone growing up in that area, well, about an hour and a half away, it's the ECW arena. So they did announce that Saya Kamitani and Rina we're going to be doing meet and greets from 6 to 6:30, and the doors open around 5:30. MLW is very big on get there early because it's only 6 to 6:30. Now, I already prepaid for not one, Rob, but 2 meet and greets as Andy Header was supposed to go with me. I did mention before of all my bloopers over the past 2 or 3 weeks that I got the dates wrong. So both meet and greets were for me. Obviously, I did get the autographs, addressed to one Andy Header. So keep in mind, it's supposed to be about a 2-hour drive, but of course I hit some Friday traffic. And as Rob, you forewarned me, you might be hitting some traffic with the World Cup. Now the World Cup game was Sunday, but you did have people coming in Friday and Saturday from out of the area. So I hit a little bit of traffic. I was like, okay, The thing starts at 6 o'clock. The meet and greet starts at 6 o'clock. I think the show was 7, and doors open, I think, at 5:30. It's like, okay, no problem. I got there an hour early, waiting in line in 95-degree heat. It was scorching out. But
Commitment.
the things you will do. Now, Rob, there's only me and two other gentlemen in line, both wearing Saya Kamitani shirts. So we find out that they're from Los Angeles. The one gentleman I was talking to said that he was actually in Corkin Hall for the Saya Kamitani versus Tam Nakano. There it is. Lose matching shirts and all. Loser leaves Stardom. So I guess what he had told me was he was going over there for work, and about 3 days after his work thing ended was that show. So he said, "Hey, I'm just going to use vacation time." Stardom in Corkin. Bought his tickets like 6 weeks in advance. And if you remember, that match was announced back at the Path to Thunder, dun dun dun, and Rock and Roll. So he's like, "Well, I already got my tickets for this." So he was there as Tam Nakano left Stardom, but didn't leave wrestling for another 5 weeks. And he said that you can hear, once the 3 count hit, you can hear like a pin drop. So he was telling me like the atmosphere in there. So that was really cool. Got in line, met Saya Kamitani for what was the first of 2 times. Mentioned we had matching shirts. She was really, really nice. And that was all sorts of fun. Obviously, had plenty of time to meet her because again, I got there an hour and change early, and I realized I was actually the first in line to meet Saya Kamitani. So quickly get over, as you can see for this picture, Saya was on the right, Rina was on the left. So go over to meet Rina, and Rina has the 8x10, and she's just like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I, wrote it on my phone, so this way you can see it. So she writes MAT, stops, looks at me, finishes the signing, looks at me, points down at my name, and she goes, "Oh, I know, I know." Now, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, she's saying, now there's obviously a language barrier, and there's a lot of people here, but what I'm getting, I could be wrong, I don't think I am, is she knows me. Now, Rob, what does she know me from? Does she know that back in 2002, I was Pizza Maker of the Year? Is that what she knows me from?
It's
And
what
I'm
I
from
know you from.
and Rob, since I grew up in pizza capital of the world. Technically, that year I was the best in the world at making pizza. Keep in mind, in 2002, Rena wasn't born. However, maybe she did her research. No, so I'm joking, but she did say, I know, and pointed at my name, pointed at me. I go, "You know me from the show, the podcast?" And she says, "Yes," and then gave me a high five, a really good high five. Now, Rob, on the things that I love in this world, it goes like headlock, wrist lock, good high five, good cover. I'm a big fan of a good high five.
Are you a fan more of a good high five or a good handshake?
Good high five. It's close though.
Okay.
It's close. Yeah. If there's 30 days out of the month, I'd say 16 to 14. I'll take a good high five. It's close. It's close. So then I said, "I'll see you tomorrow." She said, "Are you coming to the show?" I said, "Yes." And I have meet and greet. She goes, "Are you meeting me and Sai again?" I said, "Yes, I will be here again tomorrow to meet you." And then she gave me another solid Rob Goodwin high five.
Chopped you in the throat like you want Bozell to do to Ruaka.
Oh, no, punch to the throat. I'll take a chop as well.
Apologies, yeah.
So again, Saya was great. Rena was fantastic as well. Now they did announce on the Thursday show in New York was sold out, and obviously Friday and Saturday was sold out. They didn't announce any matches. We didn't know what matches were going to happen. I did find out from our fans that were in New York on Thursday that the match was Rina and Saya Kamitani versus Shotzi and Lady Frost. So wasn't sure if they were going to do singles matches. Rob, we lucked out because there were 2 singles matches. I think it was like match 3. We did get Rina versus Shotzi. Boy, howdy, was this fantastic. Now, we did make mention on Talk Joshi last week that MLW aired on their YouTube channel Shotzi versus Shoko Nakajima from Tokyo Joshi Pro. And you never know how it's going to happen when you have 2 different styles and the language barrier, but Shotzi worked the Joshi style really well. For somebody that's been prime on American TV quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years, she worked the Joshi style really well there. And she worked it really well with this Rina match. Shotzi was probably the second most over person on these shows, second to Karrion Kross or Killer Kross. He was massively over. Now, as over as Shotzi was, there were a lot of people chanting for Rina, who again is supposed to be this brat heel, this foreigner, but there still were a lot of people chanting for Rina. So what I liked is they did this spot halfway through the match that got Rina completely over as a heel. Rob, it's a move I've never seen Rina do before. So Rina and Shotzi are fighting on the apron. Rina gets the better of Shotzi on the apron. Rina goes back in the ring. The ref goes to the apron to check on Shotzi. As Shotzi rolls in the ring, the ref goes through the second and middle rope. Rina kicks the rope up into the referee in between his legs. I was like, oh man, that was great. It got Rina proper heat. Shotzi did go over with the top rope senton, a really fantastic match. So I was like, that really only leaves Saya Kamitani and Lady Frost because they had that new signing. I think her name's Zaharia. She's like female Ultimate Warrior. She won in a squash match early on in the evening. So I was like, I wonder. So Scarlett Bordeaux, she comes out, and I'm like, oh, they do Scarlett and Saya. That's a weird pairing. She comes out, and she's kind of just on commentary because then Saya Kamitani comes out. Place goes nuts. Lady Frost comes out. They have a banger of a match. Really fantastic match. Kamitani gets the win with the Star Crusher. After the match, Shotzi comes out and she gets in Kamitani's face. Now, keep in mind, Shotzi is their women's champion. Gets in Kamitani's face, shows Kamitani the belt, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're setting up Shotzi and Saya for tomorrow. Like, why else? My wrestling brain goes to this. Like, they're obviously going to do that, and then there wind up being a huge brawl with Rina and Shotzi and Lady Frost and Saya Kamitani and Scarlett and that other girl Zaharia. And I'm like, oh, that clearly sets up a 6-person tag for tomorrow. So that's obviously what they did on the Sunday show. So full disclosure, I was up around 3:45 that day and was going nonstop, and I had a 2-hour drive home. So I was like, after the Kamitani, so I saw Rina wrestle. I saw Kamitani wrestle. I'm like, I think about ready to bail out. I think I'm going to bail out. But then Trevor Lee versus Austin Aries was next. I was like, I haven't seen Austin Aries wrestling quite a bit. I used to work for Ring of Honor when he was the champion there. He's always been great to me. I said, I'll stick around for this match. And these two absolutely tore the house down. It was the best match I saw all weekend in the ECW arena. These two were phenomenal. Austin Aries is still terrific. Trevor Lee, I still have no idea why WWE let him go. But once that match does air on their YouTube channel, definitely take the time to see Austin Aries and Trevor Lee because it was phenomenal. So I get home next morning, get up, go to the gym. Now Amber is supposed to go with me on the Saturday show. Fortunately, Amber was sick, so she could not go to the ECW arena with me. So she couldn't check that off her box for a venue she'd been to in the last 6 months.
Sure,
like
she was devastated.
Like Cork and Hall, she did want to go, but I mean, obviously Cork and Hall, Tokyo Dome, Sumo Hall, Nippon Budokan. It's like the ECW arena is a big one to check off, her checklist. She doesn't have a checklist, but so it's like, okay, I'll go alone. This time, Rob, I waited in my car for about another hour before I went back out there in the sweltering heat. So go there again, meet Kamitani. She's like, again? I said, yes, it's me again. We did not have matching shirts this time. We did not have matching shirts. But I chatted for a little bit. We talked about the Tokyo Dome, when it may or may not happen. And then I said, who do you wrestle at the Tokyo Dome? Suri? And she's like, I don't know. I go, what about Utami? And then she put her head down. So I go back over to, yeah, maybe, Rob. Maybe I figured, did I predict the main event of their Tokyo Dome show? I don't know. Go back into Rena's line, and she thanked me, and so did Sai. She thanks for meeting us 2 in a row. And Rena was great, despite her on night 2 having a horrible jersey on. I'll just leave it at that, Rob. I will just apologies to all of our New York Yankee fans out there, yes, but no. Again, in the 2 of them, they both thanked me for being there both days. I might have been the only one that was there both days to do the meet and greet, but they were fantastic. I'll say this, Rob, between the 2 days, the most shirts, easily, Saya Kamitani was the most shirts on the 2 days. Now, number 2, most seen shirts in the ECW arena on 2 dates, BWO, the Blue World Order. The Blue World Order fans, they showed out. There was quite a bit of BWO shirts. And then, Rob, number 3, Slayer shirts. A lot of Slayer fans. So Kamitani, BWO, and Slayer shirts in the ECW arena. Fantastic. And then we did go to their second match, which again was that 6-person tag. Lady Frost teaming with Rina and Saya Kamitani to take on the team of Shotzi Blackheart. Scarlett Bordeaux, and then I think her name is Zahari.
Sorry.
I apologize. Yeah,
Sorry, I think.
she was really, she's very, very explosive, very explosive. So they had a really good 6-person tag. It was Shotzi getting the win over Lady Frost there, and they had a little segment that I did post on my social media of Shotzi and Saya Kamitani. Those two gelled really well. They had a lot of, you ready for it, Rob? Chemistry. So hoping we get Shotzi. Considering Shotzi had a great match, Shoko Nakajima, great match with Rina, and some really great segments with Saya Kamitani. We have this partnership with MLW and Stardom. I'm really hoping we get a Shotzi run in Stardom. Because I tell you what, out of all of the meet and greet lines between Kamitani, Rina, Killer Cross, everybody that was there, Shotzi easily had the biggest line. Like it wasn't even close. Literally the point where you can combine all the lines and met it up with Shotzi's. I think Shotzi still would have been the biggest. So again, she's crazy over, fantastic in the ring, show that she can go with the best of the best in Joshi. So I would love to see a Shotzi run sometime soon in Japan, because she was great. It also was great, just so many people coming up to us or coming up to me saying how much they love the show, how much they love, everything that me and you are doing and me and Andy Header are doing. A lot of new listeners and watchers to Stardom. A lot of people were there to see Saya Kamitani. And I'll say this, Rob, when Saya Kamitani, after her match, there was about each night 30 to 40 people that left because they were just there to see Saya. So I was just like, oh, all right. Again, that just goes to show you, again, they sold out 3 nights in a row, New York and Philly twice. Saya is a draw. Saya is definitely a draw. A lot of people coming up to me talking about Saya Kamitani's current run, talking about certain things. They love the trilogy of matches with Tam. Once I mentioned, I'm like, as great as those 3 matches were with Tam in 2024 and 2025, but her Wonder matches are just as good. A lot of these people that I talk to have never seen Saya Kamitani as the Golden Phoenix.
Wow.
Like, you have to see her run as Wonder of Stardom champion. Again, it just goes to show you that this heel character, which, folks, this is the time that I apologize for something that happened 2 years ago, a rant on this episode, that heel turn has done absolutely wonders, not only in Japan, but here in the States as well. So again, it was a fantastic time despite the heat. I did get a Philly cheesesteak at Tony Luke's, which anybody that's been to the ECW arena knows is about a half a mile away from the ECW arena. Fantastic crowd. Congratulations to MLW for not 1, not 2, but 3 sellouts. They did announce they're going back to the ECW arena, I believe, October 3rd.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed that we do see some more Stardom talent, make the trip over to the United States for MLW. And again, the staff there was great. Everybody was terrific. My buddy Sam, who works for MLW, he made sure I was taken care of. He's such a great guy. I mean, MLW, they're doing great things over there. Again, packing houses. The atmosphere was terrific. The lighting was great. And again, the tickets were cheap. I had about 3 tickets to these shows, and my 3 tickets after taxes were cheaper than one of the meet and greets. And the meet and greets weren't expensive at all. It just goes to show you, in this day and age where we're complaining about concert tickets and going see musicals and Broadway plays and certain other wrestling companies that are gouging fans, MLW is the place to go. And again, the biggest thanks to them, the biggest thanks to Saya and Rina for just being fantastic. And again, I can't say thank you enough to everybody that came up to me and just ranted and raved about how much they love what we're doing over here on the World of Joshi podcasting network, my friend.
Well, I think it's fair to say now that Rina is a bona fide friend of the show. I think that's fair to say now.
Starlight Kid, they're neck and neck, buddy.
Absolutely. I forgot Starlight Kid knew who we were. But yes, I'm glad you had a good time, mate, and I'm glad I'm glad you were able to see Saya Kamitani and Rina in the United States. Of course, Rina is still over in Mexico at the moment, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. Saya Kamitani will be returning for the conversion. Now, she did say to Utami before she left to the United States that she basically was about a million years too early for Utami to have a singles match with Saya Kamitani at the conversion. And that basically is the case because they're not having a singles match at the conversion. They are, however, in an 8-woman tag. Now, just before we get into the full card, obviously one of the big things going into the conversion, aside from the title matches, is the return of Momo Watanabe, who came out at Korakuen Hall said that she thinks that Stardom has been boring in her absence. I respectfully disagree, but I understand the sentiment. Hasn't been seen in a Stardom ring since the 3rd of November, save for that one match in April where she returned for Saki Kashima's final match. So 9 months, more or less, out of the ring to really take the time to recover from that ankle injury. With the 5-star Grand Prix round the corner, this is very, very, very exciting. And Momo will be returning at the Conversion. The full card is as follows. Yuna Mizumori versus Motoi Hamabe, Mei Seira versus Emma Maishima, Aya Sakura versus Ann Kanai. I believe all 3 of those are YouTube kickoff shows. We've then got Ronnie Yagami and Kyoko Katatsu versus Maika and Koguma versus Mavida Loka, Itsuki Aoki, and Akira Kuragane. We've got the Artist of Stardom Championship match, Dream Trine, which is Ami Sori, Hina, and Lady C, the champions, defending against the Ito Respect Army, Maki Ito, Rian, and Kikyo Furusawa. Cosmic Angels, Natsuko and Soriano, alongside Hazuki and Fuwa-chan, will take on Hate, Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, Fukiken Death, and Azusa Inaba. Xena, who seems to be teasing her nearing end with the company, which, if true, is incredibly sad. She's taking on Hanako in singles action, which is going to be a low-key banger. We've then got this, and this really excites me. Utami Hayashishita, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid versus the Hate team of Saya Kamitani, Momo Watanabe, returning Momo Watanabe, B. Priestley, and Konami. We'll talk a little bit about the build up to that in a moment. And then the 3 title matches that we already knew we were getting: the IWGP Women's Championship match, Shiori versus Rina Yamashita, the Wonder of Stardom Championship, Hanan defending against Wingori tag partner Sayarida, and then the World of Stardom Championship, Sayaka Karara, the champion, making her second defense against Suzu Suzuki. Now, Matt, obviously we've got those title matches as we mentioned, and we've talked a little bit about all of them. However, the backstage of Korakuen, where Utami approaches Azumi and Miyu Amasaki and asks them to be her partners, this is really, really, really good stuff. This is on the YouTube backstage comments if you haven't seen it. So once, and again, spoilers if you haven't already seen Korakuen, even though Korakuen Review is in the episode title. So you knew this was coming, guys. O2 Line obviously successfully defended against FWC in what was predictably a fantastic match. Utami interrupted Azumi and Miyu Amasaki backstage, asked them to be her partners at the Conversion. Azumi, rather than just saying a straight yes or a straight no, agreed, but said that Utami needs to make amends to the members of Queen's Quest, to explain herself to the members of Queen's Quest, and the other members of Queen's Quest are going to want to talk to her. So we're not just letting that law lie. We are delving deeply into it. What a time for Momo Watanabe to return to the fold in this match, where we are reopening those connections between Utami, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, to a lesser extent, but a very real extent. Obviously, Saya Kamitani on the other side, Momo Watanabe on the other side. Momo Watanabe, of course, the real mastermind behind the fate of Queen's Quest. I know people tend to blame Saya Kamitani, and with good reason, but Momo Watanabe was the puppet master behind it. Matt, it's going to be a really, really, really good show. Like, there are some really, really exciting matchups. The title matches all look great. I'm really intrigued by Shiori and Rina Yamashita. Obviously, we haven't seen any preview matches, which was Rina Yamashita's wish. In fact, Rina Yamashita hasn't been on any of the cards since. So that's going to be exciting. But Xena versus Hanako in a singles match. And again, I really do hope that it's not Xena's last bow in Stardom, because she's tremendous, really, really great worker. However, if she's going to get a bigger opportunity somewhere else, then obviously we wish her nothing but the best. But she seems like an absolute delight and a really good wrestler. But also, that's where I feel the whole Conversion, summer, June pay-per-view stuff happens in Stardom. That's going to be the match, isn't it? Utami, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Kid versus Hate. that's going to be the match.
I knew you were going to say that and say how funny if it would be something like it's going to be one of the opening YouTube shows.
Yeah, it's going to be
Like,
Ankanai versus Yuna Mizumori.
yeah, that's what it is. And then after Ankanai is going to
Sorry,
win.
Matoi versus Yuna.
Well, somebody's going to win with the Kevin Nash style powerbomb. You know, he puts the cigar on the back, and then Kevin Nash comes out, and they do NWO Japan in Stardom. Yeah, that's it with Scott Norton and Chono. So yeah, that's that's definitely where it's going to be. As far as Xena goes, the rumors around the rumor mill, again, they're rumors. Don't believe everything you read, but the rumors are that Xena is on her way to NXT and Daga, her boyfriend, is on his way to AAA, which obviously AAA is now owned by WWE. So that is the rumors. Whether that's true or not, or whether Xena retires and then becomes a professional fisherman, we don't know. Again, as we all, I don't know why I threw that out there, but I mean, if that's what it is, going to NXT, obviously NXT WWE, the biggest wrestling company in the world. So if that's what she's on for, good on her, good for her. Whatever she's going to do, she's going to succeed in life. Because as you said a minute ago, partner, she's fantastic. But if you look at the way this card has kind of been laid out, they almost put it in match order. Obviously, you can change. The artist match looks like it's on earlier, and then it looks like you're having your title matches. You're going to have red belt is going to be the main event. White belt is sub main. Before that is going to be IWGP. And then before that is the match that we think we're going to get the whole conversion thing before. Yeah, Rob, more than likely our big surprise, our big what's going to, not change the company, but your big, start of the summer, angle, whether it was Starlight Kid telling Mayu, no, I don't want to go back to Stars. And then we got that full-fledged heel turn, or the Queen's Quest Oedo Tai cage match that had Saki Kashima leave Oedo Tai, now known as Hate, or Bozilla making her debut, or the disillusion of Queen's Quest from 2 years ago. I think that's the match it's going to be. We kind of figured there's going to have something with Utami and Saya that was going to happen. And you did get that promo, as you mentioned, backstage with Utami going to Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, two former members of Queen's Quest. So you kind of figure with Momo coming back and costing Utami the match on the same show, you figure to be some sort of 6-person tag that's going to have Momo, Saya, and somebody else. But now it's Momo, Saya, Konami, and B. Priestley, and then we're adding in Starlight Kid. So you're kind of wondering, where does Starlight Kid figure into this? Because obviously she's part of Neo Genesis, which Azumi and Miyu Amasaki are members of, obviously, but former members of Queen's Quest. But then I'm kind of looking at these eight people in that match, Rob. 6 of the 8 were in that cage match that happened 3 years ago. Starlight Kid now is on the babyface team, not the heel team. But I mean, you look at that. Not only that, the majority of these people in this match are former members of Queen's Quest. Whether it's Utami, Azumi, Saya, Momo, Konami, B. Priestley. I mean, there's a lot of Queen's Quest lore in that match. And then Starlight Kid, one of the top 10 best wrestlers in the world. And the world is about to see, especially in the United States, what we've been talking about the last 4 or 5 years about how great Kid is. And I know we're going to talk about it with her match coming up at Forbidden Door at the end of the month. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, Rob, can they completely pull a Vince Russo on us and Miyu Amasaki turns heel? We find out Miyu Amasaki has been the puppet master this whole time, not Momo Watanabe. Sure, but I'm really like, where does Starlight Kid play lie in this? It was like, are we going to see maybe Kid go to Hate? It shouldn't happen. It wouldn't make sense, but we've seen it. They're so loaded with members that it's the seed that they plant in our mind. I don't know what's going to happen. I know Momo did hit Utami with the bat. Maybe she tries for it and Saya stops her, because Saya's really never done anything. I mean, I know she put her foot on Utami, but that was it. There's going to be something that's going to happen. This is going to be the match you're going to see some movement that we really just don't see coming. But then once we kind of delve back, we're like, oh, maybe that's the seeds they planted. Is Momo's face turn here? Is this where it looks like Momo's going to hit Utami with the bat and Saya pulls it back? Are we going to see maybe Saya go to hit Azumi with the back, and then Momo's like, no, because remember what happened to 5-star last year. Not only that, but we still never got why Momo never hit Mayu with the bat at Historic Crossover almost 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago. So there's a lot there. All these matches look great. Those 3 title matches, the 4 title matches, all could steal the show. But the match that I'm most intrigued with, it's going to be great because of the people in it, but it's the storyline and what's going to come out of it that I'm intrigued the most. is basically Queen's Quest and Starlight Kid versus Hate, or Queen's Quest Dark, maybe at this point. Queen's Quest Evil. So yeah, a lot of Queen's Quest lore. You mentioned how Azumi told Utami she needs to make amends with the other members of Queen's Quest. I want to see that sit down interview with Utami and Lady C, because not enough people are talking about that. Where Utami's like, "Look,
that's where the real betrayal was.
Maybe if you didn't wear the chaps, maybe I would have stayed. Maybe that's, can you imagine?
Hey, she's championship chaps now.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe that's why she came back. I don't know. She saw it coming. But again, this car looks great. This whole show is going to be fantastic from start to finish. Again, we're talking about Cork, and I'm really excited, really intrigued. Saturday morning, I will be here live watching said show. Then right after that, I'll probably an hour or two later, I'm going to watch the Marigold Korakuen show. Saturday is going to be a fun day for me, my friend.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out, it's worth reiterating that all 4 members of the Hate team were previously in Queen's Quest. B. Priestley, Queen's Quest. Konami, Queen's Quest. Saya Kamitani, Queen's Quest. Momo Watanabe, Queen's Quest. The only person who hasn't been in Queen's Quest in that match is Starlight Kid. So there's a lot to sort of undertake in that match. There's a lot to unpack in that match. So yeah, very, very, very exciting card. Again, there is the scope for change, looking, further down the card. Obviously, you got Meisera and Emma Shima, a brand new addition to Neo Genesis, maybe a little bit of a proving ground there. We've got Aya Sakura and Ankanai. Maybe that is the end of Ankanai's mythical non-existent trials. I haven't seen anything apart from trying to walk a dog at some point. Yuna Mizumori and Matoy Hamabe, maybe we see some movement there. I know that Stars, especially Sayarita, was very, very adamant she wanted Hanako in Stars after their tag match in Korakuen. So I do wonder if we'll see some faction shift ups as well, especially as we've got, again, I feel like I say this all the time, we've got so many unaffiliated wrestlers now. You could literally start 3 brand new factions and you would have enough members.
It's crazy. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was never like, and obviously, Rob, before, longer than me, but it was very rare you had any, now maybe a rookie or like a freelancer coming in, but it's very rare you'd have somebody unaffiliated for more than a few months. FWC has been unaffiliated for over a year. Mike and Hanako, I know, even though they're teaming up, they've been unaffiliated since the beginning of this year. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do. Not less the Ito Respect Army just gets 50 members, and then we have a 50 versus 50 double cage match against Hate. That could be the way to go, Rob.
Again, book it. Where that's not going to be booked, and we will give our predictions, obviously, a little bit later on for this show, but where that won't be happening is Forbidden Door, because our valiant hero defending the honor of Stardom against the vile words of Tekla will be Starlight Kid, as was confirmed on Collision and was also confirmed by Starlight Kid herself at Korakuen. And then obviously the match graphic makes it official. Starlight Kid will be challenging Tekla for the AEW Women's World Championship on Sunday, June 28th in San Jose, California. Obviously, Tekla has been a little bit vulgar, a little bit rude in regards to her former employers. Starlight Kid has basically stood up and said, whoa, don't be talking smack about the promotion that made you, Tekla. Come on. And this is the match that we now get. Now, this is incredibly exciting. I know that Tony Khan is incredibly high on Starlight Kid, both Starlight Kid and Azumi. Well, yeah, that's very, very true. And I imagine that she will have a lot more fans after this show. Again, we talked last week when we were running through the litany of matches that Hazuki Fuwa, Chanrani Yagami, and Shiori will be undertaking in June and July and August. More have been announced, which we'll be going through in a moment. But it's an opportunity for these wrestlers to put themselves on an international stage. And what bigger stage, aside from maybe, WrestleMania or something like that, what bigger stage is there for wrestlers now? AEW pay-per-views in a title match. This is a huge opportunity for Stargate. Is she going to win? Absolutely not. No. Bless me. Absolutely not. No. In fact, I would put money on the fact that Tekla will win. However, it's not about that. It's about the performance that Kid will put in. It's about the fans that she'll garner with her in-ring style. Even if it's just for the entrance, because the entrance is going to be sick.
Yeah, I mean, look at the entrance that she does in like KBS Hall or one of these smaller venues, only a couple hundred people, where this is going to be 12, 13,000 people, Robert. Then you have the multi-million-dollar production that is AEW. We saw it when Mina first went over, like, wow, that's different. And obviously now she's signed. Hazuki as well just looks really cool. You mentioned 2 minutes ago, partner. I'm going to kind of piggyback on what you just said, that more fans that she's going to get. We saw it when Mina went over there. We see it when Sherry goes over to the States, you know, whether it's for New Japan or Ring of Honor. And obviously we have Sherry and Athena on Ring of Honor TV this Thursday. Hazuki, you know, 2 matches in, doing this little program with Mercedes Monet. There's a lot of new Hazuki fans out there. So, and I have a lot of people have been messaging me, asking me things about Hazuki. So it's great to see it because obviously we're massive fans of Hazuki. I always say Starlight Kid, Will Ospreay, and Azumi, I think, are the three most talented wrestlers in all of wrestling. People are going to get to see Starlight Kid, a phenomenal wrestler. As you mentioned, just the entrance alone, there are people that are going to gravitate to Starlight Kid just on the entrance alone. Very much like Hazuki and Mercedes Monet, they've done a little build up with Hazuki and Mercedes Monet. This, they've done a lot of build up. Like Tekla is doing a phenomenal job. Like her
Really good job.
transitioning over to Stardom to AEW. Now, we knew like once we hear rumors that she's gonna go over to AEW, we're like she's gonna hit a home run because she's made for American television, and she wins the championship in AEW, being there less than a year. I mean, the second biggest wrestling company in the world, coming over from Stardom, and she's been and has done a great job. Great job with the promos, great job with the in-ring stuff, great job getting heat. Is a proper heel, winning matches by cheating, but not in front of the referee. You know, she's one of the best heels in this company and has done a great job building up her hatred for Stardom. And I think it was really cool how like we would see right after Tekla climb the ladder, spit on the Stardom logo. Again, she really went out of her way to disrespect Stardom. Like within hours, there were so many Stardom wrestlers that are like, I'll go over, I'll go over, I'll go over. I think a lot of us thought it was going to be Sherry because one, Sherry's already going to be over in the States. And two, if you're looking at this from a shoot and you're Teru Okada, you can send one person over there not to have a good match, but to kick the crap out of Tekla. I think Sherry's everybody's first pick, or Hazuki or Ronnie Yagami, and they're there as well. But having Starlight Kid over there, I'm like, ooh, that's really interesting in the best way possible. So I'm excited for this match. I'm excited for Starlight Kid to get known on a worldwide basis. I'll tell you what, Rob, I might get heat for this, but I don't care. I really love this relationship we're seeing with Stardom and AEW because we're getting more eyes on Stardom. We're getting more Stardom talent over here in the States, and the roster's big enough where they can lend out a Sai Kamitani in Arena for a weekend, a Starlight Kid for a weekend, even a Shiri and a Hazuki, Ron and Fuchan for pretty much an entire summer. We're seeing them working not only the independents, but Ring of Honor and AEW. And I think Tony Khan is doing a great job putting them over. We got a nice little highlight package from Starlight Kid as well. So it wasn't like she's coming in cold. And again, Tekla's doing a great job getting a lot of heat on her. So again, I'm super excited for Kid to get the opportunity to show the world what we already know, that she is a next level talent, really, truly one of one. And again, I'm really enjoying seeing the more Stardom talent on the bigger stage because ultimately it's going to help the talent and it's going to help the brand that is Stardom. You know, they're seeing a Kid, they're seeing a Hazuki, they're seeing a Shuri, and they're like, wait, there's a whole company of wrestlers that are this good. Well, not all of them, but like 75%. Like, oh yeah, they're all this fantastic. So this is a win-win for everybody, my friend. I'm super excited for Forbidden Door coming up Sunday, June 29th, San Jose, California.
Yeah, just to quickly point out that obviously Stardom have the conversion on Saturday, the 20th. They then have shows on the 26th, 27th, 28th, and Korakuen on the 30th. I would be very, very surprised if we see Starlight Kid on any of those shows. Somewhere else you will be able to see Starlight Kid, though, is on Hiroyo Matsumoto's 20th anniversary show on the 17th of July in Shinjuku Face. She was announced recently as a slew of talent, no matchups yet, but she has been announced alongside Sioriano, Rini Yamashita, Nagisa Nozaki, Aja Kong, Minoru Suzuki, and Jungle Kiona as well. So very, very exciting. There, maybe we see Kid and Jungle Kiona again in the ring. Of course, Jungle Kiona did appear at Starlight Kid's 10th anniversary show. Maybe we see them mix it up in the ring.
Did you see the quick little interview that Jungle Kiona did?
Which one is this?
The one that she said that she would like to join Neo Genesis.
Oh, yes. And then she was doing the pose.
Yeah. Or maybe we see Starlight Kid versus Minoru Suzuki, Rob. That's the match I want to see.
They would be taking what was left of Starlight Kid home in a wheelbarrow.
How dare you, sir? Have faith that she's our Stardom savior coming up at the end of the month.
That is true. That is true. Get behind the Stardom savior. It is worth pointing out as well, just final little bit about Forbidden Door. Someone, and I can't remember who it was on social media, so I would have to check this fact, but they have stated that Tekla has never beaten Starlight Kid in singles, tags, anything like that. I don't know if that's true, but it was something that was said.
Not to put any pressure on you, Rob, and I'm going to shoot. If anybody's going to know, I'm not doing this to blow smoke. If anybody's going to know with about 20 minutes of research, it would be you. There's nobody else that can dive deep into that. Because I know Rob will come back, like he'll text me in like 2 hours and be like, yeah, here's the record, here's the draws, here's this. Again, Rob Gooden has written 2 books for all of our new listeners to the Stardom Cast. Has written 2. Just go to Amazon, type in Rob Gooden, you get all of his books. If you buy them in a bundle, free shipping. And Prime Day is coming up too. So I mean, why not? And reading, Rob, is fundamental. That's what my mom always told me.
Absolutely. What's the fun in fundamental? Just a couple of quick announcements then. Stardom have confirmed the first post 5-star Grand Prix pay-per-view. It is going to be Stardom to the World, the return of Stardom to the World on September the 12th. Obviously, the first time that they ran this show was last year, main evented by Saya Kamitani versus B. Priestley. But Matt, are you excited for the return of Stardom to the World?
Yeah, and again, they're putting all this stuff out early. Again, ticket sales for the 5-star Grand Prix went up a few weeks ago. We know that after the 5-star Grand Prix, we got Stardom to the World. So they're basically already planting the seeds of like, hey, here's what's coming up after the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm like, I'm so excited for the conversion. And then each moment that goes by, we're closer to the 5-star Grand Prix. By the way, Rob, I don't know if you realize, but from when we started the show to this point right now, we are 48 minutes closer to the start of the 5-star Grand Prix. The Stardom of the World show last year was phenomenal. Remember, we had Suzu Suzuki versus Sari. We had Saya and B. Priestley, which was a phenomenal match. And then the Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba match. So, again, there's obviously no shortage of great wrestlers in Stardom. So I'm going to be excited to see the fallout and the shakeup from the 5-star Grand Prix going to the Stardom to the World show, which would probably be about 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks after the 5-star Grand Prix. So I wouldn't be shocked on that final night or a day or two after we do know majority of the card or kind of an idea of where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely. And the show Yokohama Budokan. Just a quick update on Rina. Rina, of course, is currently in Mexico wrestling for CMLL. She will also be wrestling on June 26th in a tag match that's just been announced, where she'll be teaming up with Candela against Tabata and Kira. Tabata and Kira, obviously, both having made appearances in Stardom. So some excellent worldwide exposure for Rina off the back of that MLW appearance, Matt.
Think about the big arenas around the world, legendary arenas that she has been working the last handful of months. I mean, you got Sumo Hall. And I know she's been there a few times before. And obviously, Korakuen Hall, she's been there a lot over, since her career. We look again, she just had the ECW arena, and then we have Arena Mexico and all these other buildings in CMLL. Not bad at 19 years old, Rob. Not bad. 19 years old, I was trying not to get lost on my way to college while Arena's traveling the world. So she's doing well for herself, my friend. And again, good on her. Arena is a truly, truly special talent.
Another great show to keep an eye out for, and goodness knows I hope they stream this at some point.
You and everybody else, buddy. Oh my
Good
goodness.
Lord.
The internet was a bust. Like, please stream this. Why aren't you streaming this?
JTO's 7th anniversary show in Korakuen Hall on the 10th of July sees both Inaba sisters in action. Tomoka Inaba will be facing Mirai for Mirai's JTO Girls Championship. And in a singles match, Azusa Inaba will be facing Saya Kamitani. This was set up backstage, I believe. Azusa Inaba basically said she wants to face Saya, be on the opposite side from Saya, basically to see what it's like to help her growth. And Saya agreed, but said, I'm not going to take it easy on you just because we're in the same faction. Whatever that is, Matt, these two matches alone are money. Very, very exciting. We know that Saya Kamitani is obviously a huge money draw. Mirai, who has just won the GHC Women's Championship. So congratulations to Mirai. Mirai's doing very well for herself. I can see this being a really good number for JTO.
Is this in Korakuen, Rob?
It is in Korakuen, my friend, yes.
Quick little side note. I had a customer come in over the weekend at my side job. He had a tattoo on his hand that said JTO. And I said, does that stand for Just Tap Out? And he said, no, that's my daughter's name. And I said, your daughter's name is Just Tap Out? And I was like, yeah, no, just nobody. Yeah.
Jato. It's a strange name.
But all honesty, Jato, yes. No, but all honesty, this match can be great. The Mirai and Tomoka match will be terrific. I'm sure they'll load up the undercard as well. But yeah, as soon as this was announced, social media was like, this looks awesome. And then they tagged Taka Michinoku in a whole bunch of tweets. I'm like, just stream it. We get streaming in Korakuen Hall all the time live from Noah, New Japan, Marigold, Sendai Girls, Tokyo Joshi Pro, Stardom. Like every company pretty much streams live from Korakuen Hall. Oz Academy, I think, as well. So it's like, just stream it. Like, how do you not take advantage of having Saya Kamitani, the biggest, arguably the biggest draw in the whole entire country, being in this show against Azusa Inaba, which would be fantastic. I mean, create a YouTube page and just stream it. You'll make your money back on that. I'm telling you.
Yeah, certainly. I can't wait for that match. It's going to be great. Azusa Inaba is a real talent, especially at her, given her age, which is just mad that she is 18. Absolutely mad. And obviously Tomoka Inaba, a really great talent who we're both very high on here on the Stardom cast. Hopefully she recovers from whatever injury kept her off the Korakuen Hall show. Couple of different destinations for our Stardom wrestlers over that aforementioned period over the summer. Obviously, as we mentioned last week, Hazuki, Shiori, Rani Agami, and Fuwa-chan are not going to be at the 5-star Grand Prix. They are instead going to be dallying around the US and basically wrestling on every single show possible. We announced that last week Fuwa-chan had been announced for the Radiant show on the 15th of August, brought to you by friend of the show, The Wrestling Enthusiast. Hazuki now joins her on that show as well, which is perhaps unsurprising. Hazuki will also be wrestling on the Orange Crush Produce show. We also announced that all 4 members of the Stardom roster that are going over to the US have been signed to multi-show deals with the Produce by Orange Crush. The first of these is the Produce an Afternoon special in Montreal, July 26th. We've had 2 names announced for this show and 2 matches announced for this show. We have got Hazuki versus Liza Hall, and then Fuwa-chan versus Nixie XS. Nixie XS I've just seen and has done a couple of shots in AEW. From the limited that I've seen, obviously looks very good. Very excited to see what Fuwa-chan can do with it.
Yeah, really cool. The Stardom wrestlers are just out and about. We're starting to get more and more things announced each and every day. And this is great for Fuwa-chan. We mentioned since her re-debut, she's taking this like a duck to water. Now she's working the independents as well to go along with the Stardom schedule. She's working wrestlers. I mean, you want to talk about somebody going outside their comfort zone. Here's somebody that has, worldwide success, especially in Japan, as a celebrity. And then I'm going to get into wrestling. Now I'm going to not only get into wrestling, but now I'm going to go outside of the Stardom bubble and the Japan bubble. I'm going to work the US independents. it goes to show how much she truly loves it. So it's really cool for Fuchan. And again, as I mentioned a little bit ago, it's going to be really cool to see more eyes on the wild heart that is Hazuki, because I think you're going to see Hazuki constantly getting more and more fans by her getting more in front of more eyes around the independents and again the AEWs and Ring of Honors as well.
And just a reminder, that's Sunday, July 26th in the IWS. L'Enfer, I believe it's pronounced. So if you are in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, maybe drop in on that show because it looks very good. Also, if you are in Texas on July 31st, Matt, I know you're not that far away from Texas. Suri will be appearing on New Texas Pro's Moonsault show. Again, that'll be live in Houston. More will be announced very soon in terms of matchups and things like that. But again, Suri and New Texas Pro is your headline there, Matt.
I wonder if Shuri's going to do a moonsault. You know, I mean, the name of the show is Moonsault.
Maybe.
I believe, yeah, stay tuned. Buy your ticket and find out, folks. How's that for a sell job? Rob, New Texas Pro, I believe that's the independent company that Walker Stewart either works with or I think
he's done some with them. I know that Hanako did a mini excursion with New Texas Pro a couple of years ago.
I know that because you're still upset with me that I didn't travel to see Hanako. Yeah,
just seems half-assed. I'm not going to lie, Matt. New Texas Pro have also announced a show called Wrestle Matsuri, which is due to take part on July 25th in the George R. Brown Convention Center with the tagline is East meets West. Now, I would be very, very surprised if we don't see some Stardom talent on that show. So maybe keep ears to the ground in relation to that. And then finally, just some Sendai Girls news, because obviously Sendai Girls have announced a couple of matches ahead of the biggest show in Zebio Arena. First things first, they've announced Saya Ida versus Manami in a singles match. This is alongside Chihiro Hashimoto versus Veni for the Sendai Girls World Championship. Spike Nishimura versus Senka Akatsuki for the Junior Championship. The Sendai Girls Tag Championships are going to be contested between Red Energy and Bobo Momo Banana. But we know that, again, Sayarida will be taking on Manami in singles action, and Sioriano will be making an appearance alongside Sari as well, who will be back from injury, Matt. So, again, Sendai Girls pulling it out of the bag. That main event is going to be tasty. And again, the Sayarida versus Manami match, I am very, very, very much looking forward to.
Yeah, Sendai Girls, they always put on great shows, and more and more, especially when they build. Mako Satomura does a great job building up to the biggest shows. Clearly, Mako Satomura has a great relationship with everybody, so that's why she's able to pull talent from the best Joshi talent to add into her stacked roster. Yeah, those 3 championship matches will be great. They are built up great with Spike versus Senka. You do have Chirashimoto versus Veni, which is going to be great. Match I'm looking forward to the most, Bob Momo Banana versus Red Energy. I'm really excited when that was announced. Obviously, Soriano going to be on, and of course, cheap plug preview and review, as always, will be on Talk Joshi with myself and one Andy Header.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the one show we are going to be talking about today, and that was Stardom's live Korakuen Hall show from the 14th of June. Again, 3 title matches on the card. Goddess of Stardom titles between O2 Line and FWC. The match that should have happened at Queen's Dynasty at the end of May, but was ultimately postponed due to illness to Miyu Amasaki. The first defense of the Artist of Stardom championships by the 36th champions Dream Trine, Amisori Hina and Lady C, with the winner of that match and Cosmic Carnival, who are tremendous, and I want to see more of them. Again, the biggest return in wrestling happened on this show, and I'm not talking about Momo Watanabe. Obviously, the winner of that match will be taking on the Ito Respect Army trio of Maki Ito, Kikyo Furusawa, and Rian. But as I've already gone through the card for the conversion, you already know who that is. Ron Yagami taking on Miku Kanai. Also on this show, we saw Meisera return. Hazuki returned as well, having missed the shows in Sendai and Utsun and Maya after the AEW Collision tapings. The announced attendance inside Korakuen Hall, 1,494, which the company announced to be a complete sellout of the venue. It's a 10.18% increase on the previous attendance at the venue, which was 1,356 back on the 17th of May, and is also the highest Stardom attendance at Korakuen since back in February when Konami defended the Y belt against Hina. Right, let's go into our quick results then. We opened up with a tag match. Hanako and Saya Iida defeating Hanan and Motoi Hamabe. Hanako pinning Motoi with the powerbomb in 10 minutes and 17 seconds. 6-woman tag match, the Ito Respect Army, Maki Ito, Kikyo Furusawa, and Rian defeated the Neo Genesis trio of Starlight Kid, Emma Maishima, and Meisera. Welcome to the group, Emma. Rian rolling up Emma with the Hanaguruma in 8 minutes and 41 seconds. In a singles match, Sayaka Kurara defeated Ann Kanai, spearing her in half with the Tokameki spear in 9 minutes and 39 seconds. 6-woman tag, Xena, Itsuki Aoki, and Akira Kuragane defeated the God's Eye team of Shiori, Nanami Hatano, and Kyoka Kotatsu. Nanami, of course, the replacement for Tomoka Inaba, who was absent on this show through injury. Xena ultimately pinned Kyoka Kotatsu with the German suplex in 9 minutes and 52 seconds. 8-woman tag, the Hate team of Natsuko Tora, Konami, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba defeated Sioriano, Maika, Fuwa-chan, and Utami Hayashishita. Natsuko Tora pinning Utami with a Swanton bomb in 9 minutes and 52 seconds. 3 title matches then, back to back to back. Future of Stardom Championship, Ronnie Agami defeated Miku Kanai with the Beat Buster in 10 minutes and 37 seconds. 5 successful title defenses now for Ronnie Agami, by the way, who gets to joint 5th with Starlight Kid for the most successful title defenses. It's worth pointing out that Starlight Kid took 200 and something days to do this, whereas Ronnie Agami has taken 92, which is mad. The most fightingest of all champions.
Slacker Starlight Kid, by the way. Starlight Kid, slacker.
Absolutely. Artist of Stardom Championships, Dream Trine, Lady C, Amisori, and Hina, the champions, defeated Cosmic Carnival, Aya Sakura, Yuna Mizumori, and Natsupoi Amisori, pinning Aya Sakura with like a thunderbolt in 18 minutes and 58 seconds to make the first successful defense of their belts. And then finally, the Goddess of Stardom Championship belts on the line 02 line, Azumi and Miyu Wamasaki, defeated FWC, Hazuki, and Koguma, with Azumi pinning Hazuki with the Azumi Sushi. Matt Turner, let's talk about this opening tag match then. Sairida and Hanan. And again, we've got a very interesting dynamic here because as much as we've got the doubt as to whether sort of Sayaka Kurara is worthy of holding the belt or is strong enough to hold the belt. We've got that story. We've got the mystery surrounding Shiori and Rina Yamashita. We've just got a straight up 6-woman tag for the Artist of Stardom Championships. Here, we've got 2 people who are first and foremost friends and tag partners, yet Sairida is going for Hanan's title. So that makes it a really, really interesting dynamic.
You know, I made mention the past few weeks that since the announcement of Suzu versus Sayaka Kurora for the conversion, again coming up this weekend, that pretty much every show has had Saya on one side and Suzu on the other, and they did a great job really piquing my interest. We really didn't get much Ida and Hanan here. What we got was great. I wouldn't be shocked if Ida and Hanan, when we do our review next week, that's our joint favorite match of the entire show because we know they're terrific. But we really didn't get too much. But we did get it's possible Motoi Hamabe maybe trying out for Stars because she worked really well with Hanan. And Hanako worked really good with Saya Iida. Again, Hanako has been unaffiliated, Rob, since the beginning of this year, as you know. And also, as you know, their stars are very depleted and have been for quite some time. So maybe, Hanako, I think, would work really well in this version of Stars. My guess she'll probably go whatever faction Micah goes to, or they can split them up. I mean, I think it's a win-win. I thought Motoi was terrific here. Ida and Motoi had some really great spots back and forth. The Han and Ida stuff we got, I thought was good. But for it being a Cork and Hall show right before the pay-per-view, you thought you got a little more. Not only that, but this was free on YouTube. So I thought this would have been a really good way to kind of be like, oh, by the way, this is going to be our semi-main event between Ida and Han. And again, the stuff was really good. And we know Han and Ida are going to put on instant classic because the two of them are really talented. I still really enjoyed this match, but eventually I like the finish, how it kind of came out of nowhere. Motoi was really going after Hanako's arm, considering the fact that Motoi is probably the smallest in stature on this match, and Hanako is the biggest. She kept going, does the rolling armbar. Then Hanako just drops her with a rampage bomb and then kind of lays on her. Like she just drops and she's holding her shoulder and she just happens to fall in the pinning predicament. It's not something that you see every day. It's something different that made sense. I enjoy this one. I thought this was a solid opener. 3.5 stars, Mr. Rob Goodwin.
6-woman tag, the return of Mei Seira, who has gotten herself a brand new tattoo. I don't know if you noticed that. So we've got Rebellious Mei Seira, which is always fun. And obviously, we've also got her first interaction with brand new Neo Genesis member Emma Maishima. How do you think she fared before she was unceremoniously rolled up by Rian, who, again, despite the star power in this ring, might have been the most entertaining part of the match?
Now, Rian, who officially joined the Ito Respect Army a few weeks ago, last week, Rob, she had matching gear. This week, no. Like she didn't have, I don't know if it was in the wash or she forgot or she pulled a Miyu Hamasaki.
Pulled a Miyu Hamasaki.
However, Emma had new gear, but her gear looked like she's gonna be the third member of O2 line. That's the vibe. That was kind of almost like the same style. It's like, oh, you figure they would have came out with like that tiger print style that they all had. Regardless, that Emma looked great. She fits in really well here. Mei Seira, I didn't watch the show live, but Andy had her sent me a picture, and I was like, is that really Mei Seira? I mean, with the blonde hair, the tattoo on kind of on her stomach. Not only that, Rob, but I saw a picture of Mei Seira after the match, and she took her armband off, and I guess she has butterfly tattoos on her arm as well. So double rebellious Mei Seira, my friend. So I don't know what maybe listen to listening to the old Green Day maybe is one Mei Seira. But
we all remember that first time we listened to My Chemical Romance.
That's what it was. That's the
who was it we said that for?
Was it Kamitani?
Might have been Kamitani, yeah.
Azusa Inaba. No, it was Starlight Kid.
Was it Dark Starlight Kid?
It was Starlight Kid. Anyway, the match was great. This was, we knew Ito Respect Army is getting the next shot, and they're getting the shot at the pay-per-view a few days after. So we need to make sure they look really good. And it helps when you're across the ring from Starlight Kid and Mei Seira, who were terrific. We didn't get enough of them in the match, but it wasn't about them. You still got Kid and Mei Seira being fantastic. I love Mei's new look. She looks like $1 million. I'm glad she's back because she's another one, Rob, that is kind of in the same realm as a Nazumi and a Starlight Kid of being a truly special wrestler. Maki Ito might have been the most over person in this match, considering who's in it. People love Rian. Kikyo Furusawa is really starting to find her footing in this company, considering this company is loaded with such terrific talent. And I liked how we almost have a triple finisher with the Ito Respect Army, the triple birds and the triple stunners, which I thought worked out really well. But ultimately, we kind of knew if we were going to bet money, it was a safe bet that Emma was going to be eating the L, and she did. Still thoroughly enjoyed this one. 3 3/4 stars for me. Fantastic match. And give me Starlight Kid and Maki Ito in the same bracket for the 5-star Grand Prix, Rob. That I think they worked really well together. And I think Starlight Kid would benefit working off somebody so charismatic like Maki Ito. Maki Ito would benefit working with somebody that is on a completely another level than Starlight Kid. Again, 3 3/4 stars, a really great commercial for the Ito Respect Army going into their challenge this weekend.
Yeah. And obviously I'm not 100% familiar with Maki Ito's work in Tokyo Joshi Pro. I'm certainly aware of it, but I wouldn't know it in depth. But the prevailing sort of factor certainly on social media, seems to be that this run in Stardom has reinvigorated Maki Ito, which is great to see. It really is, because again, you're absolutely right. The Korakuen crowd absolutely loved her. Brooklyn the Hole is perhaps the most over entrance theme in the entirety of Stardom since they canned Micah's theme, but we're not going to get into that because that's really sad. But yeah, absolutely. I think her versus Starlight Kid in a 5-star Grand Prix certainly something I'd be looking forward to. Sayaka Kurara versus Ann Kanai, in a match that Ann Kanai actually requested backstage. Now, whether she thought that was a wise decision after she had got a rib cage speared out through her spine by Sayaka Kurara, who pulled no punches whatsoever with that final move, I don't know, Matt. But how do you think? Well, I suppose it's a sort of two-part question. How do you feel Ann Kanai fared against the World of Stardom champion, and how do you feel the World of Stardom champion fared against someone who is lower on the card and therefore she should be, in theory, dominating?
Sayakura was a little more aggressive, a little more oomph, not only on the spear, which obviously was the finish. You want to end your match with your most violent and vicious move in a safe way. But even like the forearms, the kicks, she seemed a little more aggressive. And again, I think the Suzu match and the Suzu buildup, more importantly, the Suzu buildup right now is building out the more aggressive side. And when Suzu won that 4-way back at Queen's Dynasty, we were like, huh, that's the one we didn't see. But maybe this was the reason all along to get Kurora to be more aggressive. And Rob, to me, it's clearly working. So again, Ann Kanai more than likely is going to be in this faction. At least that's the way it's going. Can you imagine if Ann Kanai is the one on the conversion? Like she just joined hate. Maybe that's what it is, but I don't think that's what the scope changing thing's going to be. I thought Ann Kanai was terrific. I thought Sakura leading this match gave her quite a bit, maybe even too much, to the point where the crowd was biting on some of the falsies. I'm like, surely you're not going to beat your world champion on match 3 of a Corkin show before she's got to defend the belt. But it blurred the line, at least for a few seconds. I thought Ann was terrific. She's getting better and better and better. Again, how can you not learning from the Micahs, the Hanans, the Kamitanis, the Momo? I mean, the embarrassment of riches in that locker room. Even if you just sat in that locker room, Rob, and didn't say anything and just watched how people put their matches together, you're going to learn. I thought Ann Kanai has come a long way in a short amount of time, and I like this more aggressive side of Sayaka Kurora. I had this at 3 3/4 stars. And even though this match had nothing to do with Suzu Suzuki, again, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, we are seeing a way more aggressive and vicious side of Sayaka Kurora, which is what we need as our World of Stardom champion. You need that heavy hitter that can prove dominance in certain points of a match. And I thought that's what she did here. So
moving on then, Syuri Nanami and Kyoko Tatsu versus Itsuki Aoki, Akira Kuragane, and someone who would fit absolutely beautifully in Mi Vida Loca, Xena, who pulled off what might have been my favorite move of the entire show, Matt Turner, where she literally flipped Kyoko Katatsu into the air, caught her, and hit the German suplex. It was an absolute thing of beauty executed perfectly.
yeah, a lot of this match was built around Xena. Again, if this is her swan song, or if she's going, again, the WWE or wherever she's going. Obviously, we know we had that Hanako match. We only got a little bit, Rob, but I would like for her last match to challenge Sherry for the IWGP Joshi. Again, we know Sherry obviously going over to the States as well. So I thought their combinations in the match, brief yet still violent, still up my way. I thought Sherry and Izuki Aoki, that's a match I definitely want to see. It was great seeing Nanami back again, filling in for, I believe she was Tomoka Inaba's fill-in for this match. I think this was supposed to be Tomoka Inaba in this match before she came down with sickness or an injury. So I thought she fit in really well. But the Kyoto Katatsu versus Xena, that was the best parts of the match. Not only that, Rob, but that chop that has been gifted to death and shared all over social media. You can hear an echo bouncing off the walls in Cork and Holland. 1,400 people like, ooh. But that closing stretch with Xena and Kyoto Katatsu. Again, Kyoto Katatsu was just like, yeah, I'm going to take this chop. But however, what I'm going to do is I'm absolutely going to give back with kicks. It was great violence, right up my alley. But yeah, that finish was a thing of beauty. Xena is just another fantastic wrestler. And again, we'll see where she lands after this Stardom run to see if the rumors are true or if she's going somewhere else in Japan. But regardless, if she does leave the company, she'll definitely be missed. This match was fantastic. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Utami, Micah, Cioriano, and Fuwa-chan against Hate. Obviously, we talked last week about the dynamics between Cioriano and Fuwa-chan. They were on full display here as well. But there was one moment during the entrances.
Yes.
You know the moment. Natsukatora. No, I'm joking. Obviously, it was that moment where the camera, expert camera work, panned over from Utami to Micah. Both just looked so happy to be teaming together again. And obviously, you know, there's been quite a bit of kickback from certain members of the roster towards Utami. You know, we saw that Izumi and Miwamasaki, even though, you know, taking Utami up on her offer, did so with strings attached. Micah just seems to be really happy to have her playmate back in Stardom, which is adorable. It was so coolly done as well. It was brilliant.
I'm not even joking. That's not the camera thing that I was talking about. It was right after that. I did notice what you were talking about. So Tommy comes out first, and then we get Micah, and then we get Fu, and then we get Soriano. But Fuwa-chan comes and she's happier than normal, right? Because it's like, oh my god, I'm teaming with Utami and Micah, two of the best ever in this company, clearly in their prime. And then Soriano comes out. There is, and if you haven't seen it, just take the 2 seconds to watch it. Fuwa-chan is bouncing up and down, literally, and Soriano comes out, stone face, and just grabs Fuwa-chan by the arm. Fuwa looks at Soriano and basically says, "I'm sorry," without saying a word. It was so funny because it fits in with their story. Just the entrance alone, I was like, they can literally, the bell can ring and they can take it home, and I'm good. And I'm good. Just the aura, and just because they Utami, Anu, Micah, and Fuwa-chan, they all have aura, but they're different ways of it. Like they all have that it factor. You've never seen Stardom before. Like this is like your first match. Just on the entrance alone, you're like, what is this? This is fantastic. And then of course you have the other members of Hate. Rob, the bell rings, and we have a little bit of wrestling. And wouldn't you know, the match goes to the floor. Quickly goes to the floor.
How are people supposed to see? How are people supposed to know this is coming, though, Matt? That's my thing. I don't understand how we're supposed to know.
Yeah, we just don't know. It's just the playbook here. It's just, if the play keeps working, I guess keep running. But I mean, again, take a step back. Like, what a dream team! Utami, Micah, Soriano, and Fuwa-chan. Like, this is wild. And then he gets former tag champs here in the BMI 2000, Konami, former Wonder champion Azusa Inaba, who I'm sure over the next few years we're going to be saying champion of this, champion of that, because Azusa Inaba is a special talent. Again, only 17 or 18, 17, 18 years old, something like that. I do like how we get heat on Fuwa-chan here. And then once the hot tag is made, it's Mike and Soriano taking out each member of Hate with like certain tag moves, which was like, that's a tag team obviously we've never seen before, but they seem to work really well. And then Utami and Mike come in and they look at each other and it's like, hey, I got an idea. Let's take out every member of this heel faction. It's like, what do you want to do? Let's just run at them. And it's just shoulder tackle after shoulder. And obviously we've seen so many Utami and so many Micah matches over the last 4 or 5 years. And that's basically how they start their offense, is just brutal shoulder tackles. And I just love it how they run through all the members of Hate with shoulder tackles and then lariat sandwiches. Phenomenal stuff. Like it's so great seeing just how happy Utami is back, how happy Utami is back in the mix in Stardom and back in a major storyline. But you're absolutely right, Micah. As you mentioned, Micah's happy to have her playmate back in Utami. They had so many great matches in 5-star Grand Prix for the World of Stardom champion. Not only when Utami was champion, but Micah was champion. Those two work really well together. We get Tora and Utami in a lariat off. We've seen Tora and Utami in singles and tags throughout the years have excellent, here comes Rob, chemistry. Then we get the ref. There it is. Then we get the ref bump, and everyone's like, oh, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Momo Watanabe, baseball bat shot to Utami. Everybody beats up on poor Utami. Tora hits the Swanton bomb, pinning Utami in the middle of the ring for the 3 count. Great match, but even great, the things surrounding the match. Bell to bell was great. Again, the entrances were like, took this to another level. Momo doing the promo beforehand. It's like, hey, I'm back. And then you're like, how soon before Momo gets involved? Wait 10 minutes, because that's literally what happened. And obviously, Momo's back this weekend. So I know we made mention a week or two ago, is Momo going to be ready by the 5-star Grand Prix? Clearly. So again, last year's winner in the tournament more than likely will be in this year's version of the tournament. And again, just Momo just doing one thing. We're just is adding more to this former Queen's Quest storyline that we're seeing with Utami, Saya, now Momo. Now we're throwing an O2 line in the mix. Interesting to see where it goes. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Azusa Inaba, by the way, her stuff with Fuchan I thought was phenomenal, as well as Azusa and Soriano. We've seen them in tag matches, throughout the last year or so. They work really well together. Kunami, her and Utami Hayashisa, that's a singles match I would definitely like to see. But ultimately, this was just about sticking it to Utami from Momo Watanabe. But still, the crowd was molten hot for this match. 4 stars for me, my friend. I thought this match really overachieved on so many different levels.
Yeah, it's where the show kicked into another gear, certainly, just ahead of those title matches. The first of which, obviously, Ron Yagami versus Miku Kanai. Matt, I know you are a absolutely enormous fan of Miku Kanai and a fairly big fan of Ronnie Yagami. I imagine this was everything you'd want in a Future of Stardom championship match.
Yeah, but now before we hit the record button, buddy, I just actually watched Miku Kunai and Senka for the junior title over at Sendai Girls. Miku Kunai had 2 title matches in 2 different companies this past weekend. So even though she was looking at the lights, Rob, still really good showings for one Miku Kunai. And I thought this was fantastic. I wish it would have been a little bit longer. Like, I understand we had the artist match and the tag match, which got a lot of time, and rightfully so. And the show ran right around 3 hours. I just thought these two worked really well together. They could have kicked it to another gear. However, with the about 11 minutes they had, I thought they fully took advantage of every second, as you kind of had the hard-hitting style of Ron Yagami versus the more quicker, high-speed style of Miku Kanai. These two worked really well together. Again, styles make fights. They kind of have 2 different styles, but you did see Rana being able to sell and put over the faster, more explosive style Miku Kanai, and then Rana would just bring the kicks to Miku Kanai. That's one of the many great things that Miku is good at doing, is taking a butt kicking, and she takes a butt kicking here from Rana. A lot of near falls towards the end, a lot of quick roll-ups from Miku Kanai. But again, the crowd really bid on. I didn't think going in there was any way that Rana was dropping the belt here. But again, for a few split seconds, they did a great job blurring the lines that, hey, it only takes 3 seconds to win or lose a match. We almost had here a few times. However, though, it is Rani Yagami with a head kick that leads to her version of the Northern Lights bomb, also known as the Beat Buster. For the 3 count, I had this one at 4 stars.
I'm never going to get tired of seeing Lady C with a belt, ever. However, for a brief moment, and this is the power of the Cosmic Carnival, I kind of wanted them to win. And it might be because we saw the biggest return in pro wrestling in 2026 during this match. And Matt, you know what that is, of course. The Cosmic Angels dance, brother.
My first note.
And I think it's fair to say that all 3 of we knew Natsupoi obviously was going to nail this because she was doing it before anyway. Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori nailed this better than Waka Tsukiyama ever did.
Poor Waka, not even on the show. Just getting buried.
Not on the show. Genuinely injured, and obviously we wish her nothing but the best, but the Cosmic Angels dance was not for her.
No, that's why that should have been the reason why she left. Remember, she left. He's like, I want to join.
Isn't that why Mai Sakurai left? Because she didn't want to dance anymore.
Yeah, remember, yes, she goes, I just don't want to dance anymore. And then Tam pointed at Sherry and Julie. I'm like, well, they dance when they come to the ring when they were the ALK system.
Yeah, literally do. They literally have a dance routine.
Tam literally volleyed it right back to Mai Sakurai in the promo in the ring why she was leaving. I don't want to dance. And Tam's like, well, they dance. Like not for nothing, but Tam, but like maybe shut your mouth and kind of like let the angle go before you bury it.
Tam, what are you doing? I just want to wear my big hats. What are you doing?
That's it. You get to wear your big fancy crowns and whatnot. Anywho, but yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, the dance is back. I was like, then I'm thinking in my head, have they done this before? I'm like, no, it's been a while. I remember like 2 months ago, you mentioned like they don't even dance anymore. Dance is back, buddy. The dance is back in a big way. Not for nothing. Like, I'm a massive fan of Hina, Amisori, and Lady C, especially the trios champs. If they just walked in and handed the belts over, I'm like, 5 stars for me. That would have been that. I mean, I get it. Like, I get it.
Not a hard man to please, are you?
No, not
just
really, buddy.
Quickly before you can we just appreciate how good this match was? Like, this is what I want from the Artist of Stardom champion. And this is what we get from Stardom because their roster is so deep. It doesn't matter who you put up against each other because the moment you give them the tap on the shoulder, they can go. I mean, no disrespect to Yuna Mizumori. She is a singles champion, but she's mid-card.
Mhm.
Aya Sakura, much as me and you are huge on Aya Sakura, genuinely one of the most deadpan, funniest wrestlers on the roster, mid-card wrestler. Lady C, mid-card wrestler. Hina, mid-card with aspirations much higher than that. But all of these wrestlers can go. And this is the perfect encapsulation of this. And remember the start of 2025, where we were like, oh my God, the Artist of Stardom Championships are hot like they've never been before. When you got Neo Genesis going after them, you got Cosmic Angels holding them. We had that 5-star match randomly from Dave. And it felt very much, and it sort of cooled down when Hate got the belts because Konami was white belt champion, so they could never defend them. If this is what we're going to get, every other Korakuen, just have an absolute banger match, just sticking random people. It doesn't even have to be stories, don't care. Okay, if you want to do number one contendership matches, fantastic. I love that. But you know what? Just stick random people in there and watch them cook, because that's effectively what this was, aside from an absolutely blisteringly hilarious press conference. This is what I want for this division. I just want 6 women killing it.
And Rob, you're absolutely right. This was great. It wasn't even the best match on the show. Again, it's
Oh no, it
subjective. I'm
wasn't.
sure
No.
we're gonna maybe the
Well,
best
there's only one match left, mate.
Yeah, I'm just saying, maybe the best Joshi tag match all year. We're about to get into it. But these artist belts have been so good for so long. They really, and we mentioned all the time. I mean, you go back when Restart had it for a hot minute. Go back when Prominence had it when it was Suzu, Karuma Hiragi, and Risa Serra. These artists, My Himipoi, the original Cosmic Angels. It's these you can main event shows, and this could be the show steal or the match that everyone is like, yeah, this was worth my $20, $30, $40, this match alone. This is how great this company has been and continue to be, Rob. Technically, these are like the 5th most important belts in the company. Red belt, white belt. I'll put the IWGP because of what Mayu, Suri, and Shuri has done with it and continue to do. Tag belts have always been great. So this is like the 5th most important belts. And if you main evented this show, if they end it, like if that tag match didn't happen, like say, hey, we're going to put that on the conversion. If this was the main event, you would have been like phenomenal. What a great show. What a great way to end this show. That's how great the Stardom roster has been and how great the championship matches have been. Is you could have main evented a Korakuen with this match. You would have been pleased. And this is the 5th most important title, in my opinion, in this company, because that's how great everything else has been and continues to be. Yeah, buddy, you're right, Av. Just fantastic. We start off with the Cosmic Angels triple drop kicks to start off this match, and then we get the God's Eye team. They do some triple team moves. So we get triple team move from the challengers, triple team move from the champions. So now we're off an even kill. We get really great forearm exchanges here with Hina and Yuna. I'm like, ooh, that's a match I would like to see. Yuna gets the better of Hina, but Hina almost uses Yuna's own momentum against her, using that deep judo throw, which I thoroughly enjoy. Then we get some fantastic teamwork from Sakura Daman with Aya Sakura and Yuna doing the double kick lariat sandwich, not once, but twice. We get a basement drop kick to Lady C, the Cosmic Angels axe kick to Lady C. Lady C comes back with a huge choke slam to Natsupoi. Tell you what, with the exception of Starlight Kid, does anybody else get higher up on Lady C's choke slam than Natsupoi? I mean, really putting Lady C over here. We get Aya Sakura rolling into hits a head kick and then a rolling armbar into a triangle choke onto Ami Sori. And we forget, Rob, until they started going at it, by they I mean I and Ami Sori, that they've had like this off and on feud for like the last 2.5 years. Those two really hate each other, almost as like May, Sarah, and Hanan, where it's like, oh yeah, that's right, they hate each other, and why I forget, but whenever they're in the ring with each other, that's all right, we don't like each other, so let's hit each other really hard. The chemistry with the chops, forearms, kicks, and lariats with Aya and Ami Sori really towards the third part of this match, up the intensity level to really a new point. And then we get the teamwork I mentioned a minute ago about the great teamwork with Aya and Yuna. We get the teamwork of Pineapple Fairy or Fairy Pineapple, whatever we're calling them, with a double cartwheel, double drop kick to Lady C. We're building towards the end here. We get the waterfalls. Ami Sori blocks a head kick from Aya Sakura, hits a huge lariat. We then have Yuna hitting a clothesline, Natsupoi hitting a super kick, and then Ami Sori's feed to those two strikes from Yuna and Natsupoi into the Sakura latch from Aya Sakura. As soon as she locked it in, Cork and Hall lost their minds. They thought that was the finish. Like the ref didn't even get down to count one yet. Cause like this would be a brilliant finish. Obviously we have Lady C here for the breakup. We do get a 3D attempt from God's Eye onto Aya Sakura. That gets blocked from Yuna and Natsupoi. So it's like, oh, we almost saw it, but then they kind of take it away. Eventually, though, we get Aya with a German suplex onto Ami Sori. Aya then comes running off the ropes, maybe looking for a running lariat, but then she gets caught into the 3D. And then we do get the Blue Thunder Bomb and the Leica Thunderbolt, putting away Aya Sakura. This is just another great match in the great history that is the Artists of Stardom Championships. 4.25 stars, as you said, buddy. This was fantastic. What a great V1. I thought Ami looked phenomenal. Lady C looked terrific. Hina, again, is another one that is going to be a future, whatever she wants to be in this company. And they had great dance partners. You know, I always say when you're starting off a reign, especially, yes, literally, I didn't realize, I pun intended, I didn't even mean to do that. Thank you, buddy, for adding on to that. Thank you for you making me look good. You are the cosmic angels to my God's Eye on that part of the segment. I appreciate you. Whenever you have baby faces that are really over, especially Ami, Lady C, and Hina, winning championships against the evil faction of hate, you want your baby faces to have a really great V1. And this was a phenomenal V1. What a great way to kick off this reign. And now we get the next match against the Edo Respect Army, Rob, in just a couple days. And it's going to be on the early part of the show. So what a great way to really kind of jumpstart that show coming up at the Conversion, Rob. I know you said you wouldn't yell it. I kind of mildly yelled it. Again, 4.25 stars. Fantastic match, my friend. Again, this whole show was great, as you mentioned. That Utami tag match really kicked the show off into another gear. Great artist match. As great as that was, pales in comparison, sir, what we're about to talk about.
Might as well talk about it, brother. This was absolute. It was everything I hoped their Queen's Dynasty match would be. Azumi and Miyu Wamasaki defending against Suzuki and Koguma. I have no words. This was absolutely fantastic. It does leave a slightly sour taste in the mouth when you look at how good Hazuki is. And obviously, Koguma is tremendous. Like, to have the range to go from silly comedy, you know, refreshing comedy, if you want, you know, whatever your thoughts are on the bear dance, you know, whether you think it's the greatest thing to grace the earth or whether you think it's, you know, hokey nonsense, whatever you want to believe, the fact that she can pull that off to the amusement of the crowd and then wrestle the way that she does is tremendous range. Miyu Wamasaki, incredible development, incredible. Has more 5-star matches than Kurt Angle. Let that sink in. And Azumi is one of the best to do it. But for Hazuki to be as good as she is, and to still have never held the white belt, and to still, I don't think she's been badly booked recently in Stardom, but she doesn't seem to be any sort of threat in a singles situation. And obviously, we know she is technically a freelancer, as is Koguma. But they do wrestle primarily for Stardom. I feel like Stardom are dropping a ball, not giving her a singles title. I really do. And I know that that's not where the story is, because I know that we're probably going to go Hanan into Rina. Okay, and then the chances are we're going to get into a new layer of white belt champion, maybe an Azumi, maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe a Lady C. I can dream. It just feels like Hazuki's moment's passed, and it does feel like that was a bit of a drop ball, especially when you look at how good she is. You know, the great stuff she does with Miyu Wamasaki, the predictably great stuff we knew that would happen with Azumi, especially the closing stretch, just feels like a bit of a shame.
You could also, again, Rob, I'm holding on to hope. However, I just don't say things to say things. I give reasons behind it.
Okay.
We're getting, again, Hazuki is getting so many more eyes on her in AEW, and she's wrestling maybe the best American women's wrestler in the game today, tomorrow, as we record tomorrow in Mercedes Moné for the Owen Hart Cup. And then you throw Owen Hart's name on it. We've already seen 2 matches in Hazuki in this AEW run. She's got so many new people following her and watching her. It's only going to get bigger come Wednesday night going into Thursday morning. So when she comes back over to Stardom, and obviously she's going to be wrestling then in the States. So you're getting more American eyes on her. And again, wrestling subjective, but the biggest wrestling companies since the 70s have been in the States: WWE, WWF, WCW, obviously AEW, NWA, AWA. I can go on and on and on. So you're going to get more American eyes on Hazuki. Now she comes back over in the fall, back to Stardom. She's a different, yet the same Hazuki, right? If that makes sense. You mentioned we're probably going to go to Hana and Rina because that would make sense. Rob, maybe we could hold off on that because Rena's only 19. There's still a story there with Hana and Hazuki from last year you can go back to. We know they've kind of dropped the ball a few times on these Hazuki stories where it's like, oh, it's going somewhere. And then like they never did anything with that Starlight Kid versus Hazuki when Hazuki took off Starlight Kid's mask. Then Starlight Kid, like 6 weeks later, goes on to win the white belt at Dream Queendom 2024. I'm like, okay, now they're going to run back the Hazuki thing and Hazuki's going to win the white belt. That never happened. So again, I think that would be smart for Stardom to go back to the Hazuki and Hana thing in the fall. Maybe you build it to Dream Queendom or you build it to a Korakuen. Can you imagine Hazuki winning the belt in Korakuen where she's wrestled so many times? She'd retired in Korakuen back at 2019, came back, has of all these phenomenal matches. Maybe that's the way to go. It's like you do Hazuki and Hana sometime in the fall in Korakuen and give Hazuki a 6-7 months run. And then maybe she loses it to Azumi, then Azumi and Rina. I mean, there's a lot they can do. So again, we'll see. I totally see your point. I agree. I think they kind of missed the boat with her not once, but twice. But she's still doing great work. Like she was fantastic here. And I mentioned on the artist match, a V1 for the big baby faces was great. A V1 for the big baby faces was fantastic. I thought it was interesting Hazuki eating the fall. At the same point, the stuff with her and Azumi was unbelievable. Like this whole match was great. And I mentioned last week on Talk Joshi, Rob, I don't know if you've seen it. And if anybody that's listening to this has Wrestle Universe, take time to watch from Tokyo Joshi Pro 2 weeks ago, their standalone show. You're going to watch one match. It was the best Joshi tag match I've seen all year until I saw this, and now I don't know. But take the time to watch Daydream, Miyu Watanabe, Rika Tatsumi versus Mizuki and Uda Takami. Unbelievable. It's just as good as all the Spark Rash tag matches we've seen throughout the year, which it just goes to show, Rob, just how great Joshi tag wrestling is. Like just how healthy Joshi tag wrestling is. But as far as this match goes, I mean, we started off, it was almost like high-speed tag match. I was like, wouldn't it be something if they did like maybe a 2-week high-speed tag tournament where it's like not for belts, but just for like, hey, we're going to have a tag tournament. Here are 8 teams. We're going to kind of have like high-speed rules. Because you can kind of do it. Something they never really touched upon, but you almost get like a high-speed tag match. I don't think we've ever seen. Well, maybe the first Dream Queendom when we had Mesaruga and Azumi versus.
We did have a very brief high-speed Grand Prix, but I think COVID might have put the kibosh on that.
Oh, really? Wow. Huh. But regardless, you had that in the beginning. Great way to start this match. We get a Hazuki and Azumi, a forearm exchange. Azumi hits a penalty kick to Hazuki's arm, which I really like that. And we get a lot of limb work here with Azumi onto Hazuki. More Azumi and Miyu Amasaki teamwork. There was like 2 or 3 like really contrived double team spots that I've never seen them do before that they hit like as if they've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years, and it made sense. There was a lot of great stuff at the right time. You did see the FWC going for the FWC dive early on, and that didn't pay off. And you're like, huh, okay, let's see where we go from there. And eventually gets built up in a proper way. Hazuki hits a Joshi dropkick and a corner code breaker to Azumi. Hazuki goes to the top rope. Azumi hits a top rope arm drag. We get a double top rope. Well, then we get a 4-way fight. Top rope fight, which then we get a double top rope bulldog onto O2 line. A lot of the difficulty in this match was really raised up because they were going so fast and there's 4 wrestlers. So if anybody was off a half a second or if they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, could have been the domino effect and things wouldn't look as fluid as they did. It looked fluid, it looked pretty, but there's also struggle. Like there was also struggles. I mean, you had a lot of different moving parts in this match and a lot of different psychologies that all worked. The crowd was eating it up. There was a lot of hard-hitting stuff with Hazuki and Azumi, which we know we still want to see that big singles match. We almost got a mini singles match here. Because Miyu and Koguma, especially in the beginning, I thought were terrific and their spots were great. But the main crux of this match not only was Hazuki and Azumi, say that 10 times fast, but it was just the great teamwork of Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. clearly that was the number one thing I took away from this match when the final 3 count hit. As great as this match was, it was all about making Azumi and Miyu Amasaki look like the best tag team in this company, and they're holding the belts. So it clearly made sense, and they drew almost 1,500 people in Korakuen Hall to see this match. So not only was it a success from an in-ring aspect, but it was a success from a box office standpoint as well. Azumi hits a top rope double stomp to Hazuki for a 2 count. We get Miyu Amasaki comes in with that beautiful double pop-up DDT to both members of FWC. Azumi with the La Mystica into the Fujiwara armbar. Hazuki comes back with a pump kick, tries for the Hazuki straw, but Azumi stacks the Hazuki straw for a 2.9 count. Azumi then just starts kicking Hazuki in the head like over and over again. I'm like, oh, eventually you're going to pay for that, which she does once Hazuki goes into Hazuki mode. Koguma hits a code red onto Azumi, and then Hazuki with the Hazuki straw. Now, I didn't see this match live, but I know who won. Like, what a great fall scene. Again, Rob, the crowd bid on it because we don't see the Kichan bomb or the code red used from Koguma use that often. But when Azumi took the bump, she just happened to feed right into Hazuki, which is just fantastic. And there's no wasted motion. A 2.9 count on that. Miyu takes Koguma out with the Tenzai, and then Azumi, who tried for it earlier in the match, hits the double underhook destroyer and the double Azumi sushi onto Hazuki. They built up the dives great, like Miyu going for the post dive early on, misses. Eventually, she hits it. FWC trying for the FWC dive early on in the match. We don't get it. Eventually, it's basically what we use to get into the third part of this match, because you always want to end your match on your biggest spot or build towards the end of the match in the biggest spot. And once they finally hit the FWC dive, which again, they tease early on, they hit it, they get the big pop, and then we get falsy after falsy, big move after big move, giving time to breathe, but yet not taking too long of a distance so they didn't lose the crowd. But yeah, great finish with Miyu taking out Koguma, Azumi hitting that 1-2 combination of the underhook destroyer, planting poor Hazuki on her head, and then the double Azumi sushi, putting away Hazuki for the 3 count. 4 3/4 stars. Again, probably my favorite Joshi tag match of the year. Again, either this one or the one from Tokyo Joshi Pro that we saw a few weeks ago. Just a phenomenal show, capped off by 2 fantastic matches. And again, one of the best Goddess of Stardom tag matches we've seen in quite some time, which again is saying something.
Yeah, it was a great show overall, but those 2 last matches, especially this, was tremendous. This is exactly, when we had the likes of Crazy Star in this tag division, this was the sort of match that we were getting. And again, it's really exciting. Obviously, we know that Cup High Mate are your new tag team challengers. When they challenge or when that match is going to take place, I don't know. Maybe at the June 30th Korakuen. Obviously, no more pay-per-views before the 5-star Grand Prix. And we already have the full card for the conversion. So it looks like it could be a Korakuen Hall main event, which again, I am more than here for, good sir. In fact, if I just have a look, if we got 1 Korakuen before the start of no, we've got 2. So you could potentially do 1 goddess and 1 artist, although they are running an Artist of Stardom Championship match at the pay-per-view, so maybe they won't do that. But again, 2 Korakuens between now and the 5-star, so I wonder if they'll do it then. Very, very quickly then, Matt, it is obviously the conversion on the 20th of June in Yoyogi. Let's just whip through our picks, any story beats we think might happen on this pay-per-view. Yuna Mizumori and Motoi, I think we're both in agreement this is Yuna.
Yeah, I'm going to take Yuna on this one. And again, this will probably be I think 2 or 3 matches look like they're going to be free on YouTube.
First 3, I think.
I always think that's smart business, is to give those matches as your lead in to the show.
Mei Seira versus Emma Maishima. Again, sort of almost like a trial run for Emma Maishima against the Neo Genesis member she hasn't faced yet. I think Mei Seira will probably get the win, powered by her new tattoo.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, what a great 1-2 combinations to start off this show.
I-Score and Ankanai. Do we think that Ankanai's performance against Ayaka Kurara in Korakuen and the sort of projected performance here against Aya Sakura leads her to officially join Cosmic Angels on this show?
I'll say this, Rob. I know I got to fill in my bracket. I'll do that before the show, but I'm gonna say maybe Inkanai. No, because it's on this on the pre-show. I would say maybe Inkanai gets a win. No, it's gonna be Aya Sakura gets the win, and I think she puts up a big enough fight where they finally give her team jersey. Either this one or coming up in the next week. If this was on the pay-per-view, I would say Inkanai gets a win. Then again, you get more people watching on YouTube. I don't know. Just for the
I don't
sake
see
of
them having a beat Aya.
yeah, I'm gonna say Aya wins, but when I'm filling out that bracket, Rob, on Friday, after maybe I have a glass of sake, I think that's what I might do. I might accidentally hit the Ankanai button. We'll see what happens, buddy.
Accidentally. We've gone backwards here. Why have we gone backwards? There we go. Tag team action, three-way tag. Rana and Kyoko, Isuki Aoki and Akira Kuragane, and Micah and Koguma. I mean, it's just going to be tag team goodness. I mean, I feel like it's a case of close your eyes and point, to be perfectly honest. But I'm going to go with Micah and Koguma simply because Micah is challenging for the tag titles.
Yeah, that's my philosophy behind it, but I wouldn't be shocked if Koguma eats a fall, if Kyoko Katatsu eats a fall here, or poor Akira. She's been if we do a tenable in a year from now, who has the most losses in Stardom? It might be poor Akira at this rate.
Yeah.
But I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say Micah gets the win here, but this should be fun. A lot of hard hitters. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun as well, because I think a lot of these wrestlers are low-key funny. Not Thor's brother low-key, but you know what I mean, Rob. Or former Ring of Honor world champion low-key.
Terrifying man Loki, yeah.
Yeah, I told you so. He kicked me in the throat. Accidentally. Micah pins Akira would be my guess. He did apologize afterwards, and it was really nice to me for the next few shows after that. Very much like when the Necro Butcher beat me up, and then it was very nice to me. Still to this day.
Still to this day, I can attest to that. It's because he knew there was going to be a documentary about it, Dark Side of the Ring. Dream Train versus the Ito Respect Army. I think this is more difficult than people give it credit for. I do think Dream Train are going to win, but I mean, there's a lot of buzz around the Ito Respect Army. I feel like of all the titles on the card, aside from the World, which I still don't know, this one is the only real one where there's any semblance of a title change potential happening.
We've seen the artist belts before only go like a V1, V2. So you can see that there in the Ito Respect Army are white. They're blue, pink, and dark orange hot. I guess that's the color. See what I did there? But they are white hot. So you can capitalize on that. But I just think the build up for Dream Trine is Lady C, Ami, Sori, and Hina. The God's Eye Trio has just been so big that I just don't think you take the belts off them right now. I wouldn't be shocked, but I'm pretty sure that Lady C, Ami, Sori, and Hina are going to retain. So that's going to be my prediction, good sir.
Natsupoi, Soriano, Hazuki, and Fuwa-chan against Hate. It's a tricky one, this, Matt, to be perfectly honest, because again, there's no real, and I'm reticent to use the word stakes, but it doesn't particularly matter who wins here. I'm going to say Team Poi, just because I feel like Natsupoi's getting a lot of losses lately. And we need to start building Wonder of Stardom Championship contenders and things like that. Goddess of Stardom Championships contenders, obviously here in Sioriano was Siori Poi. I think there's more there for Team Poi.
Not only that, we used to. Bless you, good sir. Hope you're not getting hay fever again. You all right?
Yeah.
I know usually hay fever usually gets you down, buddy.
Yeah.
What else is going to get you down is my prediction of this match, because it used to be a running joke that there's more than two people in this match. Fuking Death with a roll-up. Lately, we've seen Fuking Death eat a lot of L's, and I think she's eating the L here. I agree. I think you're going to need to heat up Soriano and Natsupoi not only for tag titles, but going into the 5-star as well. But you're right, there's not a lot of stakes here. This should be a fun one. You got Soripoi teaming up Hazuki and Fuwa-chan. You also have the unlikely duo of Fuwa-chan and Soriano, which is really fun. You're going to have a lot of on the fun side of Team Hazuki, and then you're going to have Hate. You know it's going to start out with the Hate Brawl. This is going to be a really fun undercard match. I don't think, again, 8 people in this match. We've seen 8 people in a match go 6 or 7 minutes. I think this is the match that'll go 6 or 7 minutes. But when we review this next week, like, damn, that was a fun 6 or 7 minutes. But I'm going to go with Natsupoi pinning Fuki in death in this one, my friend.
Just rolling through the O'Connor roll, it does make sense. Xena versus Hanako. I mean, if Xena is leaving Stardom, which it seems that she might be for pastures new, Hanako's got to win, surely.
Yeah, even if she's not, I still think it's Hanako. She did a great job. She had a really great run in the 5-star Grand Prix last year. Remember, Rob, she was just like 1 win or 1 point away of making it to the playoffs. She was leading her block most of the way in. And again, very much like you said with Micah, we know Hanako and Micah are going to be the next challengers for those goddess belts, because that's pretty much how they ended the Korakuen show that we just reviewed. More than likely, probably at the next Korakuen show would be the safe and easy and financial smart bet. So Hanako gets the win here, but maybe, Rob, we do an over-under on total chops on the poll for this one. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I imagine that Hanako's chest will look something akin to spaghetti bolognese by the end of this match. So, Queen's Quest War match.
Oh, here we go.
I would argue that the winner doesn't really matter. Again, there seems to be a lot put onto this is the month, this is the pay-per-view, this is the time of year where stuff happens in Stardom. And the title matches, though great, you might well have Suzu take the red belt. I'm still not sure. I am sort of 60-40 with Sayaka Kurara. But this is where something is going to happen. Something has to happen here. You've brought Momo Watanabe back after being out injured since November. You've got Saya Kamitani and Utami Hayashishita in a ring opposite each other for the first time in 2 years. You've got Utami teaming with her Queen's Quest kin, Azumi Miyamasaki, who stood with her during that cage match, and then she abandoned them to go and join Rossi and Marigold. There's lots of moving pieces here. I don't know what those pieces are. If I were to hazard a guess, and it's a stupid guess, I'm going to go Utami's team are going to win, but only because Momo Watanabe messes up. I think, again, if they had there not been, even the English Stardom Twitter account was saying it's the pay-per-view where stuff happens, which isn't a great tagline. I just feel like there's too much in this match for there not to be some sort of story improvement. If Saya Kamitani just pins Miyu Amasaki and then tells Utami, you're still not ready for a singles match, like, what's the point? I feel like there's got to be something here. And I think you're not going to have Utami pin Saya. You might have Saya pin Utami maybe after some mist or some sort of interference going on, he's spray painting a black or whatever, but I feel like that's not quite the seismic shift they're looking for. So I think Momo leads to Saya Kamitani getting pinned. If it's going to be because of Momo, you might have Utami pin her. She's certainly not going to pin Saya clean. And I imagine that will be the genesis of Momo Watanabe being shunted out of hate.
This is so wild. If you would have told me 2 months ago at the conversion, 4th match down, you're getting a tag match that sees O2 Line and Starbomb teaming with returning Utami Hayashishita across the ring from Saya Kamitani and returning Momo Watanabe. Oh, by the way, teaming on the other 2 people, former Wonder of Stardom champion Konami and former World of Stardom champion B. Priestley. And this is, I mean, just we can spend all day just going through the accolades of each one of these wrestlers. A lot of tournament wins, red belts, white belts, high speed championships, goddess runs. I mean, just what a stacked 8-person tag. Rob, I agree with you on about 90% of what you said. I think Momo hate the match. I think Momo accidentally hits Kamitani and Utami hits a German suplex on the Kamitani. I think Utami pins Saya Kamitani here. I think that's where the most buzz is. How sure am I? Not real sure. They wouldn't have built this up of like, this is the show where something happens. This is clearly the match. This is the match that everybody's talking about right now. And that's no disrespect to the other 3 matches we're going to preview because they're all going to be great. The big storyline is Utami and Saya. And now we have O2 Line in here, and we have Starlight Kid and B. Priestley coming back here from when, for taking a couple of shows off. Momo coming back, full time now. We haven't seen her full time since November. Konami's been doing great work. There's a lot of stuff here. I think the only thing that doesn't make sense is a Starlight Kid heel turn. I mean, I think a B. Priestley face turn makes more sense than a Starlight Kid heel turn. But you have to think of all the possibilities, because we spent majority of this show talking about it. Like what can possibly come out of this that is going to be so, it's going to reshape things, or going to be the kind of a game changer. Now, Stardom did announce about 24 to 48 hours before Momo Watanabe came back at the Korakuen show that they dropped an interview with her. And the thumbnail they used on Twitter was Momo accidentally kicking Saya Kamitani in the head. Like, you have any photo of Momo Watanabe that since she was 15 years old or 16 years old when she joined the roster, you couldn't find another one? That seemed really foreshadowing to me, Rob. It's like, yeah, just throw any picture of Momo Watanabe up. Hurry up. Here's one of kicking Kamitani in the head. Like, I think that was there for some sort of foreshadowing. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm intrigued. This match is going to be great. You're absolutely right. I think it's going to be the story coming out of it that's going to be the most buzzworthy. I'm saying Utami pins Kamitani because of something Momo did or didn't do intentional. That's my prediction. Still don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this gets thrown out. Maybe this is a double DQ. Maybe we see the hate crate come in and the Bozilla comes in and punches Rock in the throat.
Absolutely. Just even in the stakes. Even in the stakes.
I could see this being completely thrown out. I can see all, with the spray can and the hate crate and everybody else getting involved. I can see this getting thrown out, and then you have a post-match angle of something happening. I can see that. My official prediction, I'm going to say Utami pins Saya Kamitani because of something in Momo Watanabe. Again, did on purpose or didn't do.
I am inclined to agree with you. There's going to be some movement. I think someone big is going to leave Hate soon. They're just too OP at the moment.
We've never seen anybody leave Hate other than go to different. Like, nobody ever left Hate and turned babyface in the 2 years, right?
No, Kid got kicked out when it was a Ueda tie. Saki Kashima left, but she got kicked out, and that was a Ueda tie.
No, nobody's left for a babyface turn. 2 years, buddy. Time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. It would make up for her. Let's face it, I know you are Mr. Positivity. It would make up for a wasted 5-star win.
From Momo.
Yeah, let's be perfectly honest. I know that we've got a long-term story here, but I feel like they could have done a lot more and they didn't.
We have to do something.
Sayaka Kurara has the red belt, and Momo Watanabe does not.
We can beat that drum forever, but my thing is they got to do something with Momo not letting the other members of Hate cheat against Azumi in the finals of the 5-star.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to circle back. Like, why? Even with Mayu again, the match with Mayu obviously left the company a year ago. That match he had with Mayu a year and a half ago at Historic Crossover 2. Great match, unbelievable match. But like, we have to. You can't do something like that and get an instant reaction and let it go. You got to go back. And this is the time to go back to it. Now it's going to mean more. And I'm sure they didn't mean to, because Utami's coming back. Now it's like, ooh, we have so much more we can build. So maybe it's something there. Maybe Saya throws the bat to Momo to hit Azumi, and Momo just can't do it. I don't know. Maybe Momo comes out with Lady C's chaps, Rob. I don't know.
It's the pay-per-view where things happen, Matt.
We exhausted every possibility but that. We haven't even mentioned Lady C or Hina in this thing.
Absolutely. The chaps are the prize.
Rina Yamashita versus Shiori. I feel like these next two singles matches are fairly easy to call. Shiori versus Rina. I think this will be underrated. I think Rina Yamashita will surprise a lot of people because when given the nod, she can go. She's not just a deathmatch merchant. She's really, really good. But I think Shiori wins here. There's no chance to dethrone Shiori.
This is one of the biggest matches in Rina Yamashita's career. You know, wrestling in front of what's maybe a sold-out show, wrestling one of the best wrestlers in all of wrestling currently and has been for the last 4 or 5 years for the IWGP Joshi. This is a great spotlight for Rina. This is one of those matches that she's going to lose but come out as a winner. And, you know, she's going to have a great match. Sherry's going to bring it to her. She's going to bring it back to Sherry. This is going to be my style of match, Rob. Smash mouth in your face. Yeah, I think Sherry gets the win here. If I'm going in at one prediction right on this show, it's going to be this one, my friend.
Yeah, this is my lock of the show. Yeah, absolutely. Closely followed by this, if I'm perfectly honest. It's going to be great. Sayarita was tremendous during Queendom. Woke a very sleepy Rob up from his jet lag sleep. So, yeah, I think her versus Hanan is going to be tremendous. I think it's going to be blow away. It could be match of the night. It's certainly got match of the night potential. But again, I don't see Sayarita dethroning Hanan. However, what I do like is the fact that Sayarita is being considered in that white belt picture because damn right she's earned the right to be there. But yeah, I think Hanan wins here, and then she will eventually drop it to Rina.
Yeah, 2 Wonder Champion matches in 6 months. Good for Saida. Good, obviously, you're massive fans of Saida. But yeah, I think Hanan gets the win here, but I totally agree with you. This might be the second lock, and it also might be lock for match of the show. And that's no disrespect to this great loaded show. It's just Ida's great, Hanan's great. The question that we're gonna have answered is they're a great tag team. But are they great opponents? It's only few and far between. The Briscoes, the late great Jay and Mark Briscoe, were great tag team, but they were great across the ring. Hero and Claudio as the King of Wrestling's great tag team. Not so much good, but not great. And then the one I go to all the time, the American Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. You figured they would have great matches against each other, and they were very good, yet not great. So again, that's the question that we're going to get answered here. Is Ida and Hanan good across the ring as they are from being in the same corner? I don't see why they wouldn't be, Rob, but we're going to find out, buddy, at that the conversion.
I've got a horrible feeling that I know who's going to come out and challenge Hanan after this. Although, again, challenges may be far and few between because we've got the 5-star coming up and they'll set up challenges through the 5-star. We have still got 2 Korakuens between the 5 stars, I've pointed out. The story there, I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be Hazuki and Hanan's going to beat her.
I think you're going to say Konami.
Oh, God. Not another Konami and Hanan match. Please.
We'll find out.
I like Konami. I like Hanan. I like their matches, but we've seen it. I don't need to see it again. Give someone else an opportunity, as proved by the Sayarita match.
Yeah, but the roster's so loaded that, yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
Oh, Sayaka Kurara versus Suzu Suzuki. And this is very much my head saying Sayaka and my heart saying Suzu. I'll let you go first. I'm going to cow it out.
They're done. I'm going to say I'm pretty sure who's going to win this one. She just won the belt in front of 8,000 people, capping off that big story. I don't think Stardom really doesn't hot shot the belt. I know they did it with Tam and Tora, and that just made sense just to get Kamitani. Obviously, that clearly worked. They get Kamitani really over, so they really don't hot shot this belt. It's few and far between. I just don't think that she's going to end on a V1 beating Kamitani and then Maki Ito. I think Sayaka Kurara wins here. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Suzu. Great build up. I love the intensity. I love that Suzu's really brought out this new fire of Sayaka Kurara, like even more violent than she was going into that match with Kamitani back at Queendom. I think Kurara wins here, but I think this is going to be Suzu really making her earn it. Like I think you're going to see a lot of fighting from behind from Sayaka Kurara in this match, but I think Karora is going to get the W.
I just don't want to see Suzu lose anymore, man. She's
No,
so
she's so
good.
good.
She's so good. I just want to see her win the title. I just want to see her win the big one. She's been fingertips away, and she's. But yeah, it's going to be Sayaka Karara, isn't it? And I don't dislike Sayaka, quite the opposite, in fact. But I'm still not sold on this run as champion. I'm still not sold as her on her as champion either.
And again, I mean, we say every week since she's won the belt, she's a great wrestler, but Stardom, since really the inception, especially since me and you started watching Stardom, that belt holder. Rob, when you started watching Stardom, was it Mayu?
Yeah.
Was Mayu the champion? Yeah. For me, it was Utami. And then, I mean, then Sherry, Julia. I mean, it's all been just special talent. I'm not saying Sakura is a special talent, but there's so much special, next level, unbelievable talent in Stardom that it's like, but again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think what I think where they're benefiting from is their whole roster from a draw and from a financial aspect. The whole roster is so loaded that you'll pay to see an O2 line. We're paying to see the Utami Saya Kamitani story, which doesn't need a belt, not yet. We're paying to see Saya and Saya Ida, and Hanan. So I think the match is gonna be great. I wouldn't be shocked if we're like, this was the best match of the show because Saya Karora is fantastic. And Suzu Suzuki, we have seen have had great matches, throughout her 4-year run here in Stardom. So yeah, I still think the match is gonna be terrific, but I think it's gonna be Karora getting the W, my good friend.
And then finally, obviously, we have but one segment left for the end of the Stardom cast, and that is Matt. Give us our weekly dose of EO Watch.
Big ups to my main man, Darren Shanks. I knew this match was happening, but he gave me the exact time cue as...
I thought the semifinals were happening in Saudi Arabia, so clearly I am very ill-informed.
Rob, last week I said that Sol Roca was in the tournament. I thought EO and Sol Roca was going to be in the finals because on the left side of the bracket. No, she's not. It's the semifinals is Liv Morgan versus Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
So that shows to show you how out of tune outside of the EO and Julia stuff that I am. Regardless, semifinal match, EO versus Raquel. Said this quite a bit over the last 7 or 8 months. Raquel is a solid wrestler. She's very good. She easily has her best matches with EO because EO is a great base. She's a great base for EO with the high flying stuff. EO bumps all over the place for the dominant Raquel. And Raquel's a great on TV wrestler because she has like that size and that charisma that really comes across on American TV. So I knew this was going to be a great match, and this might have been their best match together, which again is saying something. We start off with EO with a drop kick at the bell and then basically jumps Raquel. So EO definitely watching those hate matches, Rob, getting the jump on Raquel. EO with some forearms. Eventually, Raquel does a bipasso, sending EO to the floor. Raquel then whips EO into the barricade. Back into the ring, Raquel really starts showing her dominance on EO. Big slam, the British Bulldog style stalling suplex. Eventually, though, EO with a drop kick, sending Raquel to the floor. EO goes for that suicide dive. This is great camera work because EO runs off the ropes, goes for the suicide dive, and the cameraman doesn't catch him to the last second. Raquel catches EO out of midair and then just posts EO off the suicide dive. Back in the ring we go. Raquel's just putting more and more heat on EO. Raquel goes for the Tahana bomb, but EO is able to counter the Tahana bomb with a victory roll for a 2.9 count. EO comes back with a few palm strikes and hits a super stiff, but in a safe way, head kick onto Raquel, but that's not enough. EO then does the Casadora into the double stomp and then the bullet train. EO is rolling, and so is the crowd firmly behind one EO Sky. EO then follows it up with a Joshi drop kick. And then we have EO goes to the top rope, after the Joshi dropkick, Raquel rolls to the apron. EO goes for the sunset power bomb off the apron to the floor. Raquel blocks that. Raquel then throws EO into the post. Raquel goes for the old Kevin Nash. A lot of Kevin Nash reference on the show this week, buddy. Maybe not enough. Maybe we need to reference the old Diesel there quite more on the Stardom cast. Goes for the old Kevin Nash snake eyes on the table. However, EO throws Raquel into the table. EO then, with the help of a bunch of fans in the front row, gets on top of the barricade. EO then goes for the double stomp off the barricade onto the table. However, Raquel gets out of the way. Raquel throws Io back into the ring. We get a top rope fight between the two. Io hits the sunset bomb, but not on the floor, into the ring. That opens up the door for Io to hit the over the moonsault, pinning Raquel Rodriguez 1-2 tree, as we say in Scranton. Io has punched her ticket, Rob, to the Queen of the Ring finals, where she will either take on Charlotte Flair or Liv Morgan. And Rob, I'm not even saying this for my Io bias. There's no reason out of those three wrestlers that Io should not win Queen of the Ring. Charlotte doesn't need it. Liv Morgan's the champion. Charlotte's already known as the Queen. Liv Morgan's the champion. Io's the best wrestler in this company. She's massively over. I've been looking at this it's easy for me to be biased because Io is my favorite wrestler in this company. I think Charlotte's phenomenal. I think Liv Morgan is terrific, but I just don't see any way Io doesn't win Queen of the Ring. So that's just me.
There you go. Coming directly from the man who said that there's no way Saya Kamitani is turning heel. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Oh, it hurt my heart.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of this episode of the Stardom Cast. Again, just want to remind you that the predictions competition for the conversion will be up, hopefully on Wednesday evening, at the latest on Thursday. So make sure to get your votes in on that for our $1 and up patrons. If you haven't done any of the others before, please don't worry. It's completely self-explanatory. Just pick your winners and we will announce the winner live here on the podcast. In the meantime, if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We are literally everywhere. 5-star comment and a review. No, 5-star review and a comment is a completely free way to help the podcast out. Patreon.com/World of Joshi for all of these episodes ad free. On top of that, you can find us on social media. WOJ Wrestling. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Mr. Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok. I will be giving my instant reaction to the conversion right after it happens, probably downstairs so I don't wake my wife up at 5 a.m. Again, M Turner over there as well. Email. I have not one, but two email addresses, matt@worldofjoshi.com, and Rob Goodwin's going to help me out with the other one. It is the StardomCast22@gmail.com. Folks, thank you so much. Thanks for all the support that you've shown. Thanks to everybody that came up to me at the ECW arena and had said nice things about us, because we greatly appreciate it. And we also greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. So we're almost together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.